All right, Gypsy Pistoleros.
Awesome.
Welcome to episode 9.
What a cool video that is.
Right, Tulsa Music Stream.
Very cool.
How you doing, Jana?
Great. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
We got a great show tonight.
Big treat in for these people. That video you just saw was the Gypsy Pistoleros. If you were at Rocklahoma the first, 5 years, you knew who those guys were because they were the talk of the festival.
Yeah, they were all over the place.
Absolutely.
Everyone had to have a beer with them, do some crazy stuff. I know I was included with all that stuff, and got to do a lot of stuff with them. We got a great show coming up for you guys. Gypsy Lee Pistolero.
Yep, he'll be on with us momentarily. And then in the second hour, we are going to have Mr. Mark Mortensen from Dead Metal Society and Matt Brantley from the Hi-Fidelics. They're going to tag team their interview. Mark will be in studio with us. Matt's going to be on the phone. So we're going to talk about a lot of fun stuff. And our featured artist tonight is Melissa Fox who, if you remember Melissa, she fronted a lot of really great bands around here, Megatron, Phenom, Empire.
Yeah.
She's got the pipes, and she's back with some really great recordings that Mark Mortensen has recorded and engineered for her. So we'll be talking about that with him as well, and you're going to love the tune. She did a fantastic job on that, so we're going to be playing Alone, the cover by Heart, so it's going to be great.
It sounds good, too. She really knocked it out of the park.
She did.
And it features Jana will be on guitar on that song as well and handled the backup vocals. So
yeah, very high. That stuff was super high, but we did it.
Yeah. And, the cool thing about this show is, like, Mark and Matt, I had the pleasure to play with in one band together. And then, of course, I played with Mark in Sybil's Machine.
Yep.
We've done some recordings together. Of course, my very first band was Licks, and me and Mark started that band as well. So it's going to be a fantastic episode.
A lot of history with all these guys. The circle, the circle is small, but we definitely have some neat histories with these people. So we're really looking forward to having those guys on. But man, let's get to this very special interview. We have never called overseas before, so this will be a first for us. We're calling England, and we're going to get Lee Pistolero.
Pistoleros!
You had to get that in, didn't you?
I did.
So it is about 3 minutes till, but I bet he doesn't care if we call him early. So let's try to call overseas. We always have, this guy dictates everything now. Should we call Lee Pistolero right now?
Without a doubt.
He is ready to roll. So let's have some fun. Let's call England.
Yeah, I mean, it may take a couple minutes to get through anyway.
It might, but that's okay. That's okay. Again, the Gypsy Pistoleros were one of those. You just saw them coming from a mile away, and you wanted to hang out with them and talk to them. Super cool dudes. Lee has an amazing story, and we're going to look forward to hearing it for sure.
Let's hope it all goes well.
Might turn that up a little bit if you can.
Hello. How you doing? This is Scott from Tulsa Music Stream.
Hey,
how are you, buddy?
How you doing?
Good. How's it going, Lee? This is Jana.
Hey, Jana. How are you? All right. I'm great.
Oh, man.
Weird times, but hey.
Yeah, it is weird times. How are you feeling? Is everything well in your world? You're not having any trouble with this virus, are you?
No, not yet. But I mean, well, UK and US have handled it about the shittiest, haven't they? The response was rubbish. So over here it's like massively. I think it's about 60,000 dead now, the proper number.
So sorry.
But hey, it's whatever. It's like, it's just strange, isn't it? I mean, you don't really know how to get through it, but I suppose us creatives are supposed to create and do stuff, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. And it's been weird being locked down and unable to create, but hopefully better days are ahead.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Speaking of
I know, but that's...
Speaking of creating, you've have created quite a lot in your history of not only the Gypsy Pistoleros, but you personally. You've done a lot of acting recently. Tell us a little bit about your acting.
Yeah, well, I was in like an indie sort of when the Pistoleros sort of came to an end. We signed to Heavy Metal Records, and basically that company is a complete rip-off company. And they were supposed to promote a lot of stuff. They didn't. I mean, you two know better than I do as well, like just what that means with the company when they don't back you.
Right.
So I just sort of quit, and I was in like an indie horror film. And I thought I really liked acting, so I went back to university and got a master's degree in touring theatre. And I've been in about 9-10 films now.
Wow.
That's going all right.
Now, you actually got a master's, right?
Yeah, master's degree, at the University of Worcester.
That's excellent.
Yeah, so...
Well, I hope you don't mind if
that was different.
Lee, I hope you don't mind if we go back in time a little bit, because, a lot of people watching this episode will know who you are, but some might not. So what I'd like to do is go way back to your start. And you had a very early start in bands. You started at the age of 15. So why don't you take us back in time to those early years of your first experiences in bands, and what was it like at the age of 15 out there playing, and you ended up playing with a lot of really famous bands. What was that like?
Wow, I mean, when I started 15, we were in a punk band, called Regular Wretches, and I mean that was a brilliant time to be a kid. I mean, like, we used to practice, and we used to go to a place called the Irish Club in Kidderminster, and that's where they put on all the punk bands. And we used to see them straight up, you know, like right against them, you know, in your face. They were there, like some great bands. So I think Neon Hearts. And we just decided it was like everybody was just forming bands in those days.
Right.
So we did. We just formed a band, and we sort of we were terrible. We ripped off a few Ramones songs. We did New Rose by The Damned. And that was it. We were ready. We knew 3 songs, so we just started playing. And we went on to we supported The Damned. We were supposed to support The Clash, but it was cancelled by the council, which was one of my biggest ever regrets.
Right.
And then I sort of carried on. I formed a band called Cry the Innocent. We went out with The Alarm, Big Country.
Wow.
U2 we played one gig with. I know. And yeah, there were good times. Then I wanted to do the Iron. It turned into a real commercial. I stab at commerciality, which didn't quite come off. But there's a funny story about Cry the Innocent. We were offered a deal by Beggar's Banquet, a guy called Mr. Mills, Adrian Mills, and but just as he offered us the deal, it was £15,000. This was back in 1983. £15,000 for one album, 3 singles. He said, "You'll see Top of the Pops, that's it." And then he proceeded to drink my pint.
Wow.
And I just looked at him. And I told him to fuck off.
Right.
And do you know which band took that deal?
No.
The Cult.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Now,
so it's a strange and twisted route. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Now, Ziggy Stardust is Ziggy Stardust is a huge influence on you, and you kind of brought on his attire just recently. But what about that character of Ziggy Stardust appeals to you?
Oh, mate, it's the ultimate rock star.
Yes.
I mean, and the fact that he sort of had a killer band, the Spiders from Mars, and he just ended it at the absolute peak of, you know, I mean, stunning. Just to announce that that's it, that's the last show, must have been incredible to be there to hear that. But like, I just love that part. That was the Bowie that I really loved, and it's ironic really, because once I'd sort of graduated from university, I mean, I'm still doing various films, and I decided to go into the theatre. And so we basically had a solo show called Rock and Roll Suicide, and it was like basically the ghost, if you like, of Ziggy Stardust. Because I found out about a year and a half ago through my daughter that I've got ADHD and a bit of a borderline personality disorder. Who'd have thought, eh? Beautifully disguised in a rock and roll career. But that was it. So that was, to me, that was like the role of like this other sort of being, you know, that wasn't me, that I wanted to be, which I didn't understand. So that was the whole thing. And I took this show to Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and we did, I think, 26 shows in a row. And it's all about my autobiographical journey. So I sing along to videos of me when I was young.
Wow.
Got Ziggy Stardust coming in and out, arguing with me, and like saying, you know, why'd you do that? Why'd you do this? And whatever was stupid. Because, I mean, ADHD means that you're really impulsive and you do really stupid things on occasions, and you just go off the rails, which, you know, I have done most of my life. But it was nice to know, you know, by that. But the irony is, me doing that show about like a failed rock and roll star and never nearly was rock star, is what I sort of said. Somebody in the audience from a record label saw it and came up to me and went, I love your stuff. What happened to your band? And from that, we've just signed the deal with Golden Robot Records, Right Records from Australia. And so, so I'm back in the rock and roll circus.
That's so cool. And I have to ask you something, because when you sent me the information on yourself, I had to laugh because, you know, when you talked about, you took great joy in the fact that the critics gave a Rock and Roll Suicide ratings from 1 to 5. And that made me laugh because I thought, you know, critics are, I mean, what are critics? In my opinion, most of the time, critics are either failed musicians or failed actors, and here they are judging our material that we're doing. So tell me why it brought you such great joy to get 1 to 5 star ratings on your Rock and Roll Suicide.
Well, I'd say when I was years back, when I was about 25, I was in a band called the Ice Babies, and that's when we tried to go really commercial, and we had like a big video, and we were signed to Sony, and then the single was banned due to one line in it, "Sex and Drugs and Meet the Pretty Boys," which was like, it was taken off Radio 1 rotation for that. So that all failed. But during that time, we met Malcolm McLaren, the manager of the Sex Pistols, and he always said he was coked out of his face, and he didn't make a lot of sense. But the one thing that sort of stuck with me, he said, when I asked him about like the Pistols, he said, "I wanted to create a band that was hated and loved." He said, "If you can do that," he said, "everyone hates you or loves you. That's it." And I thought, yeah, that's brilliant. So when I got my 1 to 5, I thought, fantastic. Yes. You either walk out hating it or loving it. Right. There is nothing in between. There's nothing. You don't want people leaving your shows and whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was all right.
Some of my favorite bands.
And the one.
I'm sorry. Some of my favorite bands were exactly that. They either liked them, you loved them, or you hated them.
Yeah, nothing in the middle.
Yeah, but it's exactly that, isn't it? Yes. And but the 1 star that I got was quite funny because it was from the Scotsman, and they said, what was it? There are cause to be concerned for his mental welfare.
Oh goodness!
Like, yeah, it's a freaking play about that, you dumbass.
That's great.
You know the cool thing.
But it was awesome.
The cool thing about Ziggy Stardust is not to go back, but how Mick Ronson and David Bowie. You know, it's kind of like how you and Iggy are, you know, like a 2-man tandem, you know, the Pistoleros.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's always, I mean, you look at any great rock bands, there's normally that sort of dueling front two, isn't there?
Yes. It's always an amazing thing.
And I love Mick Ronson. But I can give you an exclusive. I mean, Iggy will be involved in the new Gypsy Pistoleros.
Great.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I didn't know that.
Iggy in it.
So tell me a little bit about that.
So
So you have, I've seen a lot of you're getting a lot of press here in the United States. Just so you know, you're getting a lot of press. Everyone's hearing about you. We're seeing a lot of things about you.
Yes.
You're a legend here in Oklahoma. Just so you know, you're a legend because of all the Rocklahomas, you know. But
yeah, mate,
you're
up with it, didn't we? You as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So you are out there and you're promoting a new tour, hopefully, and a new album.
Yes, yeah. The new. I think we're releasing the greatest hits. Well, Golden Robot Records, but they're releasing the greatest hits package, which is going to be 18 tracks. And I think they're going to take a single, which is going to be Bandido, the Ballad of Billy the Kid, which is going to be released in June. Then I think I Cater All, the next single's released in July, and then the album's released mid-August. But at the meantime, we've been working on the new album, Gypsy Pistoleros, the Mescalito Vampires, in Black Tree Studios, as much as we can. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because we're not even free now to meet over here yet.
Wow.
You know, I'm in lockdown.
Wow.
Sort of still, so we can't do anything, and that's where it's going to be really weird for shows because I mean I don't know how it is in the States, but they're almost cancelling this year.
It's almost like you have to start over, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like we're going to lose a year.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you're a venue, you can't have the distancing of 2 meters. What, you're going to have 10 people, 20 people in there?
Right, exactly.
The big places aren't going to work.
Right. Well, let's go back to some of your favorite memories because, like I said earlier, you have had some amazing stories. So tell, and again, if people have already read this, that's fine. But some people may have not. I want to hear your story about your interaction with Axl Rose during the Use Your Illusion album time. Tell us that story, would you?
That was I went over. I was going out with Jane Dickinson at the time. She was just getting divorced from Bruce Dickinson, Iron Maiden, and she'd actually she got Phil Lewis into LA Guns because they're sort of distant cousins. So anyway, she took me over to the States to audition for a few bands, and we were staying at Chris Squire, the bass player from Yes, in his place in Beverly Hills.
Right.
And we were invited to the Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion, sort of listening party, like the promo. It was about a month before it was out. So I walk in, I'm there quite happily. I'm only there about a quarter of an hour, and suddenly the security guards come up to me, and I'm like, "Oh, what, dude? I'm not even drunk. I haven't even done anything yet." And so So they treat me upset. They said, no, can you just come with us? Can you just come with us? So I go upstairs to this little room, and in that room is Axel. And it's got all the album's playing, and it's got all basically TVs with all the rooms, so they could look at the reaction of what the people are thinking about the album, etc. And he just said to me, "Hey man, would you mind listening to the album and telling me what you think about it?" And I thought, "Yeah, sure, right, mate." And so I listened to we listened to the whole album together, which is bloody a long, that's quite a long stretch.
Right.
And I was getting quite drunk. He said, "What do you want to drink?" So I said, "Cognac." So I got that one in.
Oh, wow.
So I was so about 3/4 of this cognac had gone. So I didn't care towards the end. And he asked me, he said, so what do you think of the album? And I said, "You've got one great album there." And he just went tits. He was like, shit. I knew it, and started, ranting and whatever. And the only reason he'd done it was because he had nobody that he trusted to tell him the truth.
Right.
When you get to such a level as a star that people just tell you what you want to know.
Sure.
Which, is the hassle, and is what some of the greats go through, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
And no one would just say, dude, just put out 12 tracks.
Right.
Some of those songs don't cut it. And he wanted the truth.
Right.
So, yeah, that was my meeting with Axel. I mean, going back to Rocklahoma, though, I mean, that was brilliant. I mean, that made you as well, didn't it? I mean, that was such a stunning festival.
Yes.
It still goes on now, but I mean, that was like, I think, the renaissance of the glam metal, wasn't it?
Yes.
From 2007 till about 2010. I mean, we did it in 2011, but it was starting to change at that point.
Yes.
It was getting heavy, and it was just AG then, wasn't it? AG basically bought it, didn't they?
Uh-huh.
Correct. Yes.
Which, that was the first time that I got to meet you, and it was that Thursday, 2007. And the cool thing about you, Lee, is you know how to embrace people, friends. You kind of took us under your arm a little bit during that festival. We got to hang out, drink some beers together. You and Syke and us, and if I remember correctly, during the day, and this might have been on the Friday, but we rode a mechanical bull together, or not together, but we took turns, and we had those big beers in our hands, and we were drinking these beers, and we were pretty lit at that point. I think it might have been hotter than hell, and we decided to get on this mechanical bull.
Yeah, we did. I was trying to smoke as well while I was on the bull.
And believe it or not, there are pictures of that somewhere floating around on the internet.
Yes.
And one day I'm going to look for those.
Yeah. What?
Oh, geez. No, they were good times.
They were.
We didn't know when we first came over that. I remember the first few years, because it was a thing with us when we finished our shows. We'd walk into the audience just straight off the front of the stage, and we didn't know it was such a massive thing in the States.
Right.
That you don't do that. You know what I mean? The security went mental at us. It was really like, what are you doing? And we just walked straight. And people were like, what? And after a few years, and remember we used to all go in the campsites together, didn't we? And we used to say hi to people, and we used to have a drink. And later I noticed that in the couple of years, say 3 years, all of the major bands, especially LA Guns, who we toured with a lot, we knew, started doing that as well, because they saw it as great PR. So
oh,
it was almost
sure.
Like,
yes, absolutely.
It was almost like in America you've got this sort of us and them type thing with the rock bands of yesteryear, if you like, during the 80s. They were untouchable. Right. But I think that was great that you just broke that down and just went, dude,
yes.
Yeah, you're in a band, so what? We're all in bands. And there's a lot of musicians here. Let's just hang out.
Sure.
And that was like cool. But I loved Rocklahoma, though. I did love Rocklahoma.
Well,
do you feel that Rocklahoma kind of spearheaded your U.S. tour during those years? I know you went on tour with Dirty Penny. You met a lot of cool people down here during the Rocklahoma festivals, and we were lucky enough to do a show with you guys. I think your bass player left or something and had to leave, and we had to fill in Texas. We drove all the way to Texas and hang out with you guys.
Yep.
But we also played a show together here in Tulsa. But Tell me a little about that tour that came after the Rocklahoma days with Dirty Penny.
We were like, we sort of knew Chile a lot, and like when we used to fly in, we used to make sort of Texas, Fort Worth our sort of home base before going to Rocklahoma, and we used to play a few warm-up gigs. And we used to know Chile. Sean Chile was managing Dirty Penny. And so he just said, I'll put together some dates for you. So we basically played, a varied tour. This was like, we played some really weird places. And we played Wichita, Kansas, Langley. We played the Bikers place just outside Langley.
Wow.
And where they said like, what was it? We walked in and there were some gorgeous barmaids. And they said, "Hey man, don't look at them. They're like the sheriff's daughters."
Oh.
And we went like, "Oh, no, okay, it's all right." And we said like, "Oh, but doesn't it go on late here? Isn't there like, a volume thing?" They said, "No, it doesn't matter. The marshal owns this club."
Oh my goodness!
Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So yeah, but we played some weird places as well. We played Headhunters as well in Oklahoma, I think it was, that was an awful place. But some of them were great. We had a great time there, and of course we went down.
Right.
We went down and played the Whiskey a Go Go. That was our LA debut.
Wow.
Which was really cool.
Now, how many
Jenna supported us?
How many times have you played on the Sunset Boulevard? How many times do you play there in LA?
That's it. Once.
Wow.
That's it. Just Whiskey a Go Go, and they wouldn't allow us on stage before we put our tops on. Me and Iggy.
Really?
Oh.
That's interesting.
That's so un-Gypsy Pistoleros.
Yeah. So we had to get somebody to go down to the merch table, get us some T-shirts.
Huh.
We put the T-shirts on. We walked on stage and threw them into the audience anyway.
Interesting. That's great.
You threw them in the audience.
So, Lee, let me ask you something.
Rock and roll, eh?
Yeah, that's very rock and roll.
Sure.
So if Rocklahoma asked you guys to come back, would that be something that you all would be able to do?
Yes, we would. I mean, in a heartbeat, we'd be back. But
Great.
see, the trouble was when AG took it over, they were sort of saying like, Rocklahoma used to pay for all of our flights. They used to pay for us staying and whatever, and I think they used to give us something like about $300 or $400 as well. But since AEG took it over, they you know better than I do. They've got their own bands,
right?
Who do little tours, don't they? They tour around all the same festivals, and so we were sort of a little bit of an anomaly, and they didn't quite know how to treat us.
Right.
So rather than pay nothing and use their own bands that they've got deals with, they weren't sure about like dealing with like some like independent, if you like, UK band. So, but I would in a heartbeat. Yeah, we'd come back and we'd play it. But the thing is, us, we couldn't get the green card, so we used to have to come in and borrow everybody else's instruments and pretend we were just coming in, as guests. And to bring the band that I'd really want to bring over is the band that we're going to use in the studio. And I mean, we've got a fantastic drummer. And he's brilliant.
Great.
I mean, I can't. It'll all come out in the next sort of week. But he was. This is the funny thing is he can't mention this, but he was one of the drummers in Ghost.
Is that right?
The band. Yeah, but none of them can say who they are.
Wow,
It's really funny.
That's so cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
but the connection for Rocklahoma for the third stage, Doug Burgess. He brings in some bands like, Ace Frehley, Lita Ford, and he'll bring in some national acts in which, he books a lot of here at the IDL Ballroom here in Tulsa.
Oh, right.
And so he also runs the third stage at Rocklahoma, and his name's Doug Burgess. So
I didn't know.
Maybe you two should hook up on Facebook and maybe talk about getting you down here at Rocklahoma, because I guarantee you guys will pack out that stage.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so,
oh no, that'd be cool.
So maybe we need to make that connection between you and Doug.
Yes.
And if Doug usually pays attention to our show and checks in, so if he hears this,
that'd be cool.
We'll maybe get you guys down to Rocklahoma one of these years.
Absolutely.
Oh, that'd be cool. That would be great. I mean, that would be brilliant. I mean, has it changed much of the last few years? It's got quite heavy, hasn't it? But they still put in the few of the sort of the 80s bands.
Right.
It's kind of dried up a little bit as far as the rain. It's not as muddy, but it's still muddy. It's still muddy.
Right. But
it has to be.
Yeah, to answer your question, yes, they've kind of gotten away from all 80s, and it's more of a mixture of they still do have some 80s type bands, and as a matter of fact, the stage that Scott was just telling you about, which is Doug Burgess's stage, he seems to kind of focus on the 80s acts. And so, and to be honest with you, that stage is very, very well attended, which proves to me that there's still a big audience for the 80s type music. So,
I mean, I think they could have almost toured Rocklahoma, the original type 80s glam type style, all around the US.
Yes,
that would have been amazing.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, because that was a big one. You know, it was huge. We had 50,000 people there, per day.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yes. Yeah. No, it was ridiculous, wasn't it? It was just, but the vibe was fantastic as well. There was something about it, wasn't there? That we were in the middle of sort of nowhere.
Absolutely.
But it was just like a rock and roll city.
And you know what was really cool, and I'm not just saying this because I have you guys on the phone, but to me, those first few years, I think you guys made as big an impression, if not more so, than a lot of the main acts on the main stage. And what you were saying earlier, I think because you guys went around and you met people and you hugged people and you made them feel like they were part of your gang, that's why you guys made such a great impression.
The thing is about Gypsy Pistoleros that year, 07 especially, and all the years after that, because they became legendary.
Yes.
Because everywhere you looked, there was a pistolero somewhere standing around with a beer in his hand,
right?
Chit-chatting, bullshitting. They were on golf carts. They were walking across mud fields.
Right.
They were they had the Miller Lights. They were drinking. They had their own shit. And backstage, I mean, they were everywhere. If they could sell the other band's T-shirts at the merch booths, one of them would sure be there.
Right,
right.
Yeah, you guys really did such a great job. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, we loved it, and we met some great people as well. I remember, I think it was 2008 or 2009, I think it may have been, when Triumph played.
Yes.
Triumph were playing the main stage, and they were the headliner.
Yeah.
And we were headlining the second stage at midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember there was about halfway through Triumph's set, there were people streaming over from the main stage.
I was there.
Our stage.
Yes.
And it was like, what's going on? And I remember looking, because I'd lost my voice. I had no voice whatsoever.
Oh.
So that's the only thing about Rocklahoma. We have such a great time there that I wreck my voice.
Right.
So no one's ever really heard me sing at Rocklahoma yet. They've heard me bark a lot, but I remember that year, and it was packed. And I remember looking over to the side of the stage, and when you just thoughts run through your head, and you think, dude, I'm like a kid from a council estate in Kidderminster, England.
Right.
And I'm looking over there, and ZZ Top are watching us.
That's so cool.
So neat.
Davey Vane, who I love, is one of my idols.
Vane, yes.
Sort of stage,
Yes.
And there's Tracy Gunners, and you're like, what's going on?
Right. It was amazing. I know.
So that was when it.
I know.
No, it was a great festival. I mean, I know you can't. Things change, and things will always change, and they'll always move forward. But I don't think that festival moved forward. I think.
Uh-oh. Are you still there?
We lost him.
I think we did. Let's okay. We'll just
call him back.
We'll get him back on. These things happen.
We got him, though.
But that's okay. This is going excellent. We'll get him back on.
Hello?
There you are.
We must have lost you somehow.
Sorry, but can you hear us?
Hello?
Yep, sorry. Did I go?
Okay, here we go.
Hello?
Yeah, we're just going to continue on. Can you hear us?
Sure. Yes, I can. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Very
All right.
good.
We're back on.
Sorry about that.
It's a long ways from here to Oklahoma to where you're at, so.
Right.
Yeah, modern technology.
Right.
During lockdown, everybody's got their phones on.
Yeah,
So,
no kidding.
I do want to add on to your Rocklahoma experience is I want to ask you, did you guys ever sleep? Because when people woke up, you guys were awake. When people went to bed, you guys were awake.
Oh.
How much sleep did you even get?
Oh, Scotty, it was ridiculous. We were basically we slept when we passed out.
Right.
I mean, I woke up because we used to have to get the shuttle, didn't we, back from the actual grounds, the festival grounds, to the High Rock Cafe, which is where we stayed.
Right.
And a hotel, and the shuttle was so. It ran so infrequently, and if you didn't go back with the last band, you'd miss the shuttle.
Wow!
So I think most of the times we missed the shuttle, and I mean I woke up in some gardening shed at one point.
Wow!
I had no idea where I was, and of course we just used to head straight to the beer tent, and so we were there for breakfast, which was normally. Do you remember those cans of Axe?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's what we used to have, because that was breakfast. So yeah, not the most professional of bands. So I think this time, I mean, like we better give people a good show if we do actually make it back to the States. That's the first priority. Then, but of course, we'll always party. That goes without saying.
Right.
But I mean, I dread to think what we drank, because we were invited to so many. Well, you were as well, invited to so many trailers, tents, RVs, and just given Patron,
yes,
whatever.
Yes.
I mean, so moonshine. I mean, it was a wonder that we were even able to walk.
Yeah. Right.
We couldn't do on a few occasions.
I remember the show that we did in Texas with you guys and Dirty Penny, and after the show, we all hung out in a hotel room, and it was Dirty Penny, Down for Five, and the Gypsy Pistoleros, and we were all just, I don't know, there was plenty of drinking going on. And there's probably like 20, 25 people in a small,
motel room.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Didn't we have pulled pork as well?
Yeah.
Brisket did we have as well?
Yeah, that sounds kind of familiar. Yeah, I remember that. Well, let us see what we can do. I'm not saying we can definitely make it happen, but we can talk to some people about seeing if we can get you guys back here, because I'm telling you, that would be such a hit, and everybody would be so excited to see you again. So we'll see what we can do.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah. Now.
Cool. Yeah, and I mean we're up for it totally. I think we're going out with well, who knows now with the lockdown and with how long this is going to and what's going to happen next year. But we were supposed to go. I think we were first to go on tour with Rose Tattoo.
Oh my!
The record label that we've signed to, Golden Robot Records, have got Rose Tattoo signed.
Which I want to congratulate you on the new record deal.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's just, how ironic is it though that you do a theatre show about an autobiographical story of a never nearly was rock and roll star, and then you go and get a record deal out of it. I mean, you couldn't make this up, could you?
Not at all.
Really.
No, you couldn't. You could not even script that. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you about that's a little bit different, but I read that you used to play football, which I guess the American now the American
soccer
version is soccer, right? So you played that at an early age, and then I guess when the music bug bit you, you kind of got out of it. Do you ever miss playing football, and is that something you ever do recreationally now?
No, I mean I loved it. I wanted to be. My temperament, like I say, I didn't know that I had ADHD at that age, and so my temperament was not good. I used to get really, really nervous, and I didn't play great on some occasions, on the big occasions. Right. Whereas if it didn't matter, I'd score 3, 4, and I'd be brilliant. But I played for my hometown, Kidderminster Harriers. I got into the reserves about the age of 17. But then, like you say, I was in a punk band, and we were sort of out gigging on a Friday night, and the games were on a Saturday, so the recovery time wasn't great. And so I sort of, I chose sort of,
Yeah. Right. Well,
romantic, he says. As he said, I remember the once in Rockingham in a shower with Swampfoot. That was another interesting year.
Oh my goodness!
So what you're talking about having ADHD? What piece of advice? What piece of advice would you give like others who may have that as well, and some encouragement on how to deal with that on a daily basis?
Well, I wish I'd have known about it, because it basically means that you talk like I talk, as if you're almost constantly on cocaine or speed. Your thoughts your thoughts sort of can wander, so you can ignore people when you don't mean to. You can talk over people as well. You hyper-focus, and you've got a very low threshold for almost, let's say, bohemian impulses. So you would just go out there and do whatever strange, stupid thing. See, and I didn't know until my daughter was diagnosed with it, and I went for the test as well. And they said, "Yeah, you're worse than her." Just, oh, yeah, wow. Thanks. So, but I didn't know because you hyper focus on things, which is great for songwriting and stuff like that. So there are loads of positives, and you've got energy that is ridiculous. Yeah. But sometimes then you just flake out. You'll just run out of steam. But if I'd have known that, I suppose you can control it. Whereas before, when there's something in the back of your head, there's something about me that's, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That isn't normal, and that sort of nags at you. And of course, but the weird thing was, the way retinol, which is like the drug that is given for it, is basically speed.
Yeah.
Really?
So my psychologist sort of said, "You've been self-medicating for years anyway."
It was a Ritalin.
Which was strange.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was just like, So I'd say to anybody who's got ADHD, whatever, go, dude, it's like, I know it sounds cliche that they say it to the kids, but it is. It's like another special power.
Right.
I mean, use it in the right way.
Sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just chill.
Yeah.
So, Gypsy Pistoleros, your influences as a band, you guys, you come off as a sleazy band, you come off like a rock and roll band, you come off like a punk band, you have all of these different things. Do you guys consider yourself one of the sleaziest bands around still today?
There's not many that are of that sort of ilk. I mean, LA Guns, obviously, we loved, and we were lucky enough to tour with Trace's LA Guns, and we supported Phil's as well. So 1 year, we supported both of them, so we'd actually supported the real LA Guns at one point. But we loved them. We loved LA Guns. More than Guns N' Roses, I'd say. Yeah. And Hamo Rocks I loved as well.
Oh, yes, sure.
And that's the sort of stuff. But yeah, we were always punk. We've always had the punk influences within us. And I mean, I love bands like Stiff Little Fingers. I mean, I even like Generation X. I like the Bruts. Those type of bands. So that's in us as well. Then you've got the Latin influence, because I lived in Zaragoza, Spain for 3 years. And that's where where I was introduced to flamenco and rumba. So we mixed it up, and that was the first time I sort of played with, as I call, flamenco rock and roll. And it was funny because we supported the Ramones in 1993.
Wow!
Spanish tour.
What was that like?
And we played. Oh, that was incredible!
Wow!
It was incredible. Yeah, I mean, at that point, I think they were playing to something like 3,000 a night. And it was just mayhem. I mean, we played Anarchy in the UK as a cover, and the place used to go ballistic.
Wow.
They used to be jumping up and down. It used to just be amazing. And we threw in two of the sort of rumba rock and roll songs that we wrote, and they went down amazingly. And the Gypsies, the Gitanos loved it. And like everybody else was like coming into it. I thought, oh yeah, there's something about this. So that was the first time we sort of threw that in as well. And it just makes us a little bit different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
To a straight out rock band. So, I mean, some people are saying, is it a gimmick? And it's like, well, it's its own genre, so it can't really be a gimmick. but I do smile because I think we're ranked in the top 20 flamenco rock bands of all time.
Wow.
on this one website. Which makes me smile. We're on to the Gypsy Kings.
We opened our show with your video, the cover of "Livin' La Vida Loca." Who shot that video? Because it's amazing. It's really shot well. Who directed that and shot it for you?
It was a company called Fluorescent Fish from Birmingham.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
The guy's name, the director, is called Cy. That's all we knew him as.
Yeah.
And yeah, they were really good. They were great, and they had the camera on a rail, a circular rail that was going all the way around us.
Wow.
That's how they got the quick ins and outs and that. But I think we're doing the first of the new songs that we come out with. I think it's going to be "Gonna Die with a Gun in My Hand." It's going to be the first single off the new album, which is going to be out next year. And we're going to have a brand new video with that, and it's the new look's going to be fun because it's like the Hateful Eight, basically. So
wow.
You brought up
that's going to be the whole image.
Yeah.
You brought up the Ramones, and you also did some things with Motorhead, Lemmy.
Motorhead. Yeah,
so
95, 96.
My first time I met Lemmy was on the Sunset Strip. Down for Five went down there to play some shows, and it was on, I think it was Phil's birthday, and his entourage with Lemmy was coming down to the Cat Club. And I was changing into my leather pants, and he was wearing a hat with a skull and crossbone pin on his hat. And I had a hat with the same skull and crossbones, and so we started talking. And, and the funniest thing is I was like, hey, Lemmy, I'm Scott from Tulsa. And he turned around and looks at me and says, we played a show at the Cain's Ballroom in Tulsa not too long ago. You know how many people were there? And I looked at him and I thought, he's surely like, 3,000, couple thousand? He's like, 30 people. And he turned and walked off. He goes, that's Tulsa. So what was your first interaction with Lemmy? Do you remember the times that you got to hang out with him?
Oh. I met him when I was 18. Wow, so that's back in 1970 was the first time that I sort of met him really early on. And then when we moved down to London in the early 80s, he used to drink in the St. Moritz. We used to hang out there. That's where all the rock bands used to hang out. And we're also signed a publishing deal with Sparta, Florida. So we got into the Marquee for free. And that's where we used to chat to Lemmy. That's where we first met him. He used to hang out at the bar on the edge. There was a little glass. So there was a bar, and you could watch the band through the glass, and Lemmy was always there.
Wow!
A little bit the same as it was at the Rainbow in LA.
Wow.
Very similar. He was on his same stool, same place, and then we used to go into the St. Moritz with him. And so so I met him there, and he was great. I mean, Scotty, he was just normal. There was no airs and graces with Lemmy.
Right.
He said it how it was. And he was just brilliant. I mean, I do tell this one story in the theatre show, a Rock and Roll Suicide, about he used to have this pattern. I noticed it, and after we did we were on the third tour with them that we did with Motorhead, and he used to come off stage. This is after the whole day, the same sort of pattern. He'd go and have sex with a beautiful groupie, have a shower, come in, chop lines. Get a drink, a fuzzy navel we used to have. And I remember this one stupid time, near the end of the tour, I looked at him and I said, hey, Lems, is this all it is? And he looked straight back at me and said, what else do you fucking want?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, but that was his life. That was his total life.
Sure.
On tour, the catering that used to take us, we used to have Sunday dinner twice a week. And the chefs were brilliant. So it was so eccentric at some things. Lemmy was, but no, he was a good soul, and he was just a rocker from 110%. That was what he was, and he was straight. It's all. I mean, you've met the bands, haven't you? I mean, I shouldn't name bands, but some of them are dickheads, and they're always the ones that are aspiring, not the massive legends. I mean, the legends that I've sort of played with have always been as good as gold. They've been great because that's how they become legends.
Right.
They get on with people.
Right.
And they talk to people, and they're fine, and they're normal humans.
Yes.
The people that walk around thinking they're better than you, they soon get found out.
Right.
And like the greats that we've done. I mean, I've supported UFO, Nazareth, Dio, Sabbath, Motorhead, the Ramones. I mean, everyone that we've ever done that have been the real big, you know what I mean, on a different league. They've always been as good as gold. They've always been great to us.
That's awesome.
And make a point of coming round and, and talking to you and saying hi. And, and that means so much, doesn't it? You've had it as well when you're a young band.
Sure.
And you're trying to get on the ladder. And, somebody just gives you some encouragement, and someone's just a human to you rather than, just completely dismisses you and looks down on you. That's when you're like,
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk about your music. A good place for people who want to get in tune with the Gypsy Pistoleros. I know you guys are on Spotify. Where are some other stores and places that people can get in contact with your guys' music?
It's not. There's nothing out now. It's all been pulled down. apart from the Heavy Metal Records compilation, which should be pulled down as well in the next couple of days. So there should be hardly anything online. Which means the first release will be in June, which is the Bandido single. And then in July, Hi-Fidelics, next single comes out. And then the album comes out in August. So August it will be up. But I mean, we've got a website. Everyone can check the website, which is gypsypistoleros.com or .co.uk if they want, and they keep up with all the news on there. Or even I'm on MySpace. I mean, I talk to people on there, and I reply to people as best I can.
Okay.
And you're also
quite
Lee Mark Jones on Facebook.
Yes.
Yes, you should. I think you can also get it under Gypsy Lee Pistolero. I think it comes up as well.
Okay. Well, we want to give you an opportunity to say some final thoughts and words to your fans that are watching, and anything else you'd like to share before we let you go. We thank you for giving us so much of your time today, but what are your final thoughts to your fans?
We've been away for a while, and it's good to be back in the rock and roll circus. And the only thing I can promise you is it won't be a complete hurricane again. And I mean, we'd love to come back and party with our friends in Rocklahoma.
Right.
And, with down to Florida, with Jana and with Scotty, and meet like a load of great friends that we made because we miss them.
We miss
you.
To come back to.
Yes,
we miss you too. And like I said, I you're still legendary here in Oklahoma. Rocklahoma is not the same without you.
Yes.
I consider you a friend. We've hung out a few times, and I appreciate you. And we also talk online on Facebook and everything. We stay in touch, and I appreciate you coming on our show. And the Tulsa Music Stream
You're welcome.
is now better off now that you are on the show.
Yes.
And we love you very much, and hope that we get you back here very, very soon.
Yes.
Take care, my brother.
Yes.
Oh, anytime, bud. Goodbye. Hey, Gianna. Hey, Scotty. Love you.
Love you too. Thank you, Lee.
Bye.
We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye. Oh, man. That was so incredible.
That couldn't have gone any better,
other than the yeah, but that was no big deal. We got him right back on.
That's right.
Make sure you keep in touch with Lee and the Gypsy Pistoleros. They're going to be coming back with a vengeance. I'm quite sure. Yeah. I'm so glad that they've signed their new record deal. We can be expecting some new music.
Golden Robot, right?
Yeah, I thought it was Riot Records, but he did
well,
say.
I think it's a Slash or something.
Is it?
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know. Maybe he'll have to tune in or come on and comment or whatever. But the strange thing, he said that the stuff was like coming down offline of his music, and I'm not sure why. Maybe we should have asked that.
Right.
But now, just as of yesterday, and today, he still, was on Spotify.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if he's talking about some other stores.
You know what?
Or...
Maybe it has to do with their new deal. Maybe they're not legally allowed to have the other stuff up under the other labels.
And maybe they're taking that stuff down and then putting up the new one with that way they can get all the the hits and the likes and the royalties and all that stuff. So that's amazing. But wow, what a flashback we had, going back in time and going over the Rocklahoma times and the days. And I mean, I was there when he was talking about what band was it that was just stopped, or Triumph. And then we just bolted, because you and I were there, and we bolted right over there to the other stage, and they had a really great show. There were tons of people just flooding that stage. Yeah. And but what a cool thing if Doug got in contact with Gypsy Pistoleros and got those dudes over here to play a stage. Man.
It would be an absolute smash hit. And Lee is a good soul. It's so funny to see these guys, how they perform on stage, and then you get them in a quiet setting in an interview, and you hear how sweet they are. He's a sweet guy, and we appreciate all his time. And what a neat interview. So grateful for that.
Yeah, and what's so cool is I was kind of nervous about how things were going to go, having it be such a long distance phone call. Right. But the connection was good.
It was.
Hopefully he came out okay. We'll listen back to it. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope we can spread it around on the internet and get some people to hit some likes and give the guy some love.
Definitely.
And I forgot to bring this up in the beginning of the show, but please share this stream.
Yes.
Hit it on your Rocklahoma pages so people can tune in to Lee Gypsy Pistolero.
For sure. And we are getting ready to bring on a tag team interview with Mr. Mark Mortensen from Dead Metal Society and Matt Brantley from the Hi-Fidelics. Those guys have a band history together, and plus we'll be asking about how their current projects are going. And our featured artist tonight is Melissa Fox, and she's done a fantastic cover of the song Alone by Heart, and Mark Mortensen recorded and engineered that, so we're going to play that for you now. Take a quick break. We'll be right back on Tulsa Music Stream. Thank you guys for your support. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Give them some love.
I hear the ticking of the clock. I'm lying here, the room's pitch dark. I wonder where you are tonight. No answer on the telephone. And the night goes by so very slow. Oh, I hope that it won't end though. Alone. Till now, always got by on my own. I never really cared until I met you. And now it chills me to the bone. How do I get you alone? How do I get you alone? You don't know how long I've wanted to touch your lips and hold you tight. Oh, you don't know how long I have waited, and I was gonna tell you tonight. But the secret is still my own, and my love for you is still unknown. Alone. Till now, always got by on my own. I never really cared until I met you. And now it chills me to the bone. How do I get you alone? How do I get you
Hey, how you people doing out there?
That's the camera right there.
Oh, my God. You know what? That was awesome.
That
you know,
was spectacular.
Melissa
Yeah.
Fox.
I know her.
And the producer, the man himself, the man of the hour.
The guru.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Marky.
So we got Mr. Mark Mortensen in the house with us.
So cool.
And so who all played on that song?
Okay.
Because it's awesome. And when she hit that fucking note and I said F, I'm
You're
sorry, Mom.
cussing already.
I know. Sorry,
That's
Mom.
all right.
I'm a bad influence.
You're good. It's okay. It
I'm a bad
happens.
influence.
So This was so cool because we had a 3-band collaboration.
Three what?
A 3-band collaboration backing up Melissa.
That's how we do it.
So we're gonna read the credits. We're not gonna get through this without laughing a bunch. I can tell.
I know.
Mark Mortensen did the recording, engineering, and he played rhythm guitars on it. 9 played bass. So you two are from Dead Metal Society.
When do I ever get to play bass?
You have to stay here and watch the Cats.
I only get to play bass on Down for 5 stuff. I think Mark hates me.
No, we're gonna work
a little.
We're gonna work on your relationship, okay?
All right.
So
all right, all right.
anyway, 9 on bass. He's from Dead Metal Society. Jeff Williams and myself. Jeff did the drums. I got to do the.
So you get
solo.
to you have to read a page and
Yeah, because I'm nervous.
Now this is your band, right? This is your new band.
Is that what's going on?
And you don't even know your own players. You got to have
All right. Anyway, back to business. Jeff Williams did the drums. I did the guitar solo and the high vocals. Those were tough. And then a super cool guy that I met last night, Wayne McConday. He's the keyboard player from Empire. Super cool guy. He did the keys.
He was so nice, dude. He came in.
Professional.
Knocked it out. Yeah, it was awesome.
Totally professional guy. I had a nice talk with him.
So you've done many mixes, Mark, but today you did one right at the last minute. Like you just sprung something up on us.
Final
where
mix.
we had to change all that out.
I'm never happy. I'll go home and mix it again.
That's what makes you a pro, dude. I love it.
Now, why is that? What makes you you're just never ever happy?
Well, I listen to it on 4 or 5 different kinds of stereos. Sometimes you'll hear it here, you'll hear this. Oh, I need a little bit more kick, too much guitar solo. I'm never happy.
Right.
I'm just happy enough to let it go.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is good enough for people to hear now. I'll never be happy with
I
it.
have a funny feeling that anyone that does what you do probably feels the same way. I mean, there's always one thing that you could tweak, but so much of that is subjective. You know, you could take it this way and it'd be great, or you could take it this way and it'd still be great. It's just
and like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. It's awesome. All
Sure.
the players were great. It was real easy to do.
Sure.
It's just you get caught up in it, and you
I know,
sit in
dude.
your room and you look up, and it's like, oh shit, it's
3 in the morning.
Yeah, and you're like, man, I've been doing this for 7.5 hours.
Wow.
I have to stop.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
almost like how we do this crap right here. You know, I just want to say thanks to the Gypsy Pistoleros the first hour.
Yes.
I thought that was a cool.
Lee.
I mean, that was our first international phone call.
Yeah.
And it dropped out once, and we had a little boogie stuff going
Yeah.
on. It looked
Sorry about the
good.
boogie. Sorry about the boogie.
Whatever.
But on the replay, we're going to do some work, and on the replay, we're going to get Lee's entire unedited interview out there for our friends in England who would
Sure.
like to see that. Maybe you're,
What a rock star! That guy was awesome at
He-
Rocklahoma.
he was
He
so-
really was, man.
He was great on the interview too.
Mark, when he showed up, then you gave me your passes,
Right.
And you were sitting there, it's giving us, and me and Mark went backstage, and we were
That was so awesome.
So we were hanging out with Dokken and all
Stephen
these
Adler.
badasses. Yeah,
Yeah.
Stephen Adler was back there, and
Super cool.
It's still one of my favorite memories because even we played there 4 or 5 years, but it's not the same as
Right.
the cool all access
Right.
back pass to the back. That was awesome, dude.
For
that
sure.
was so cool.
What a
And
special
that was
year.
I felt good because I was like my buddy, and you're
Yeah.
you're I've had enough of that crap. Bunch of long haired.
Well, that, and I would
Horny
be
dudes back there.
I would have been a jerk to not allow him to have that experience. That was cool, man.
Right
That was
on,
neat.
right on.
But
hey, we got a great second half, right?
yeah. Do we want to talk about real quick what we did last night before we get Matt on the phone?
Oh well, okay. So we went and seen.
We saw.
Empire saw.
We
Thank you. He's
It's
my
grammar Nazi here. Sorry.
So we saw Empire at
Attaboy.
Cimarron Bar,
Yeah.
and oh my God,
Oh, Cimarron.
It's like-
wow.
it's like you walk in. It's like I'm not worthy. It's like I'm used to the Jaeger all over the walls. You
Right.
know, you go on the toilets are just like a mess. It's like a hellhole,
Right.
And that's what I'm used to.
Well,
now it looks like I'm not worthy. It
I
looks
know.
really badass, and wow, what a big deck that thing has, right?
Cimarron has a big deck. Now
Everybody likes a big deck.
I mean, okay. So if you haven't seen the deck yet and you're picturing it in your mind, double it. That's how big this thing is. It's amazing.
I
It
think
smells
it's
good,
probably
too.
the biggest deck in Tulsa.
Well, I'm sure they would be proud to wear that badge. You know,
I mean, who wouldn't? I would.
I know.
Everyone likes
I know.
a big deck.
You and I don't.
Didn't you
even-
have the biggest deck before?
Yeah.
Once.
Yeah.
That
At one
was
point?
many moons ago. That was back with the Bones Barkus days.
What's sad is we have no deck. I mean, there's no deck out there,
Right.
so we
No
got
deck.
some work to
We're,
do.
we're deckless.
Right. This is going off the rails.
Okay,
All
yeah,
right.
let's-
All right. Anyway, good stuff,
Anyway,
man.
we're going to get Mr. Matt Brantley on the phone.
Yeah.
We're going to call him up.
Yeah, we are.
And Matt Brantley, he's played with me and Mark back when he was like 15, 16. I played with him before we got hooked up with Mark. And we really created some really kick-ass songs and did a lot of original stuff. And that's when Mark kind of got his feet wet with 4-track recording and how, learning how to produce songs and kicking my ass and making me a nervous Eddie. Anyway,
Right?
Yep.
That's the way it's done, man.
yeah, he still scares me. I don't like going in the studio with Mark, but
No, he doesn't.
it's
Yeah.
almost like I go in and it's like Rodman versus Jordan.
No, actually, the last time you came, you had your part down, you nailed it, and you're like, how was that? It's like, yeah, good.
Yeah,
Cool. And you sent him
was
home.
impressive.
yeah. I'm like, I'm ready to take on Mark now.
Yeah, you did it.
But anyway, we're gonna call Mr. Matt Brantley.
Yeah, let's do it.
And
man.
he's been in. He plays casinos. He
I
does
know, I know.
all sorts of stuff.
Matt is such a cool guy, and I don't know Matt super well yet, but I want to get to know him and his wife better. I guess I'll know him better after we do this this interview. But appreciate Matt and Mark both coming in tonight. So we're gonna get Matt on the phone.
What's happening?
Hey,
Matt Brantley.
Hey,
so how you doing, sucker?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
Well,
Good.
we're hanging in there. We got Mr. Mark Mortensen with us here tonight, and got the beautiful Jana as always.
Oh, hey, thanks. Appreciate that.
Awesome.
A little
What's up,
Michelob Ultra.
Mark, what's happening? Jana, what's happening?
What's going on, brother? Hey, are you on your speakerphone or your regular phone?
Let me do this.
I know we told you earlier.
hear me?
Actually, you know what?
Can you hear me now?
That's great. Now you might need to turn him down a little bit. We always kind of have to play with the audio at first just to make
Well,
sure
we're
it's
good.
good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you
Check,
sound
check,
great. You
1,
sound
2.
good. It's okay.
Yeah, give me a check 1 2, Matt. Check 1 2.
1, 2, 1, 2.
He
Oh,
sound-
you
he's-
sound great.
Yeah, he sounds great.
We're gonna roll with that.
So,
Definitely.
Matt, tell us a little bit when you first started. And I remember when you first started, you were 15, scared, but you had the kick-ass drum set, and you walked in there, and I was like, what am I doing with these guys? He's so young. But then you started playing and just started kicking my ass. So, tell me about when you first started and all the rides that your mom used to drop you off at all the band practices and all that good stuff,
Aw.
and then how you came into Nothing Face with us.
Okay, so well, when you and I first met, you just kind of strolled into a band practice. I remember I was playing with Phil and Doug Hart and James Boyd, and you just kind of
Phil Tanner.
moseyed in off the street. Yeah, Phil Tanner.
Like a hobo.
And like a hobo.
There
I
was
was
a
like,
graveyard
this guy's
really
like a
close.
rock star. Who
Remember,
is
there
this?
was a graveyard.
Right.
Wow. Go ahead, bud. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So that's kind of how you and I met. But yeah, it was crazy. Just playing with you over at the Jungle, and then when that band split up, I met Ben Davis, and we formed a band with Joey Trevino, Chris Boyd, Brian Cooper. We called the band Animation. I was probably about 16. Anyway, we played some stuff, recorded, did some different things, and then eventually that band broke up, and that's whenever you and I kind of crossed paths again and met Mark.
Yeah.
So,
So I remember that because I don't know if Mark was on the bus at that point, because Mark, you started out with me in a band called Licks.
Early days.
And we were like 16, and we were dressed up in like spandex and glitter and lipstick, and we just didn't give a shit. And we dyed our hair black, and you had your.
I
like,
was always blonde. You were
Yeah.
always black.
Right,
That's right.
So we had a thing, and we used to do like concerts for like a trailer park concerts.
Air guitar
Mhm.
concerts because we couldn't actually play.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how it starts for everybody, right?
And we would do like get these tapes and get all like the neighborhood kids, and they'd come and watch us, and we just air guitar and had fun. But then we started writing songs. I actually he had a guitar and I played it, but I played it better than he did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was better than
Oh.
me.
No
when we started.
kidding?
Yeah,
but
yeah,
but
in
then
person.
he was like, screw that. Mark doesn't like to lose
Well,
ever.
no.
And you play cards with the guy, he's going to beat your ass.
Right on.
You know what I mean?
I do.
You got to be on his team if you're going to play spades. You got to be on his team.
Sure.
It's like I'm going Neil.
Right.
Anyway, so he got really, really good, and he like fixed this like amp up out of like a radio or something like that.
Yeah, like a
Really?
cheesy ghetto blaster.
Yeah?
And I don't even know how on earth I did it, but I rigged it up to be able to plug our guitar into it and make
Did
a
it have
homemade
distortion?
amplifier. Not the good kind.
Right, it's okay. Gotcha.
So we
For
ended
a
up.
couple poor kids from the trailer park,
Sure.
it was
Yeah.
cool enough.
Better than
you know?
nothing, right?
So we did licks, and we formed a band. We met some guys in like an apartment complex, and we did the licks thing. And then he left me. He broke my heart. We went to school together, and he had to break my heart, and he joined Doxy.
Yep. 16
Okay.
years old, and
Wow.
I went from. We played our very first gig, me and Scotty together on my 16th birthday at the high school.
Is that right?
Yep.
Wow.
We even got a little trophy. We didn't win first place. We won what was called Best Bunch. That's what it was called.
Best bunch?
Yeah, like Kevin Bunch.
Oh.
He was our hero at the time.
That's right.
Seriously.
Ah, okay.
Beast. We saw Beast. That was like where we wanted to be.
Sure.
Anyway, we played our first concert there, and Scotty's hair got tangled up in my guitar.
Yeah.
And
Of course.
And we have that footage downstairs. By
I
the way.
know. Did you know I've
I
seen
have the
that
trophy.
footage?
I still have that trophy.
Do you
no,
really?
you have this.
No,
this is
you
cool.
have the trophy. I don't.
I have the trophy, but you have footage of that show?
Yes, downstairs.
No, really?
Dude,
Yes.
Dude,
All right,
I've seen it.
Show's over. Let's go.
Right. No, it's we've all been there. I mean,
So
we've all been
you
there.
did the Doxy thing, and then you went on and you joined. You did the Bone Sparkus thing, and that is probably when things really start taking off for you musically.
Yeah, basically, I'm 16 years old, and I'm with some older guys. Me and Nine, we were both the youngsters. We were 16, 17. They were like 20, 21.
Right.
So they'd been in the club scene, and we didn't really know, but we were kind of the other end. Like, we liked, they were like, oh, this is cool. And we're like, no, how about Metallica? They
There you
never heard
go.
of Metallica.
Sure.
So we brought the younger part of it, too.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
And then Matt. So okay, so let's get it speed up to Matt. Okay, so you did Bone Sparkus, and you guys were all over the place. You had a bus.
Touring everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were touring everywhere, and I went on the road with you. I was your guitar tech at one point, your light guy,
Yep.
and the fogger guy.
Yep.
And I would
Do it all.
change your strings, just for everyone. And then I would dress you guys, and because before the show, then you and Nine, everybody, then we'd like put up some, hey, that's some badass on you. Come on, here we go. Anyway, so we went all over the place,
Right.
all over the place. We're talking Mexico or El Paso, Colorado Springs.
a couple of stories from that we won't get into.
Sure.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard them. It's okay. It happened.
and so that was a good stepping stone for you, Mark. And then you went and you did Rude Jester with Gary
The thing
Fox.
is it's kind of around that time I was kind of frustrated with the people of my age group.
Yeah.
And Scott had turned me on to animation and those guys, and I went and saw Matt and Ben, and I was blown away. I was like, holy shit, who are
Right.
these dudes? And he's
Right.
like, oh, yeah, they're just some young kids. So
Huh.
we decided to put it all together and see what we could come up with. And we
Right.
wrote some really cool stuff that I still look back now and
Yeah.
am really proud of.
But that was
Sure.
after Rude Jester, right?
Yes, after
Right.
Rude Jester, yeah.
And you guys you guys were all over the place with that band as well. And
Hmm.
you guys did some albums, and you started doing all your 4-tracking, all that stuff. But
Yeah,
I feel like
that's where my personal recording stuff came about. Was
Really?
Rude Jester. We did a little demo at 25th Track.
Uh-huh.
Walt Bowers, he was
Yeah.
out in Broken
oh
Arrow.
yeah.
Sure.
He was a Mormon,
Oh, is that right?
super like the nicest guy ever, and he'd bring these degenerate bands in to record. And
Right.
we'd be in our best behavior because like I said, he's a Mormon, and his family would be out. And he'd be like, "Hey guys, you want some toast? No, we're good.
Toast?
No, we got
Yeah.
beer.
Whatever.
We got beer and weed. We're good.
Yeah, no, we're fine."
But
So anyway, that's kind of where I started, laying the foundations to start
Yeah.
my
That's
own recording.
And it was a great band. I mean, there was a lot of good players. I mean, Mark's played with a lot of good players.
Right.
And starting with me.
Of course.
Oh, Eric.
But
I was Eric.
But you know what? He really just developed, and I felt lost at one point, But he saved me because when he met Matt, I had this little yellow guitar, okay,
Right.
and I would play it in my little, apartment room.
To set the scene, Scott wasn't in the music scene at the time. He wasn't playing out. He was
Okay.
just hanging out and
Right.
wasn't actually playing an instrument or anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I stopped.
Okay. So then at this point, you all meet each other,
Yeah.
Matt, and Mark.
He told me, "Hey, man, get rid of that guitar. You can't play it anyway.
Right.
And get a bass.
We have a bass amp.
And join my band.
Oh, cool.
And I'm gonna show you. We're gonna learn songs together. So I spent like hours, like days and days with this guy,
over and
Practicing.
over,
spending the night,
basically learning how to play bass
till 3 in the morning, waking up and picking it up and just going at it and learning songs. And before I knew it, there was band practice. I'm like,
So Mark, did he pick it up quickly?
Yeah, the thing was we couldn't find anybody. We kept auditioning guys, and their bass would be up here, and they'd be like,
Sure.
I'm like, I don't want this guy. You know what I mean?
Right,
I don't want this dude. It's like Scott's a rock star. He just doesn't know how to play bass, and so we'll just teach him how to do that, and the rest is history.
There you go.
yeah.
We had a bunch of technicians at the time.
And then we got with Matt, and then we just started just rehearsing over and over and over.
Right.
And to this day, I mean, Matt was so young, and we had probably still one of the coolest singers. And if he was still out in the game today, he would be blowing
He'd be
down
tearing it
doors.
up.
Oh,
Dude,
he would.
Now, who was that guy?
He was just so young. And,
Ben Davis.
Ben Davis.
Who is actually a pastor now.
Wow.
Yeah,
cool,
he's got his
man.
own church and everything.
That's cool.
It's pretty impressive.
Wow, that's really cool.
At the
Yeah,
time,
he's in Houston. He's in Houston, Texas now.
Really?
He used to be able to belt it out, man. That dude could scream like Sebastian Bach. And I remember we went in and it was like, oh my God, who is this guy?
Yep. So tell us a little bit about your experience with Nothing Face at that point, Matt.
Well, I just remember I had went to several Rude Jester practices over in that building, at Mark's building, and was blown
Grandpa
away.
Joe.
I thought those guys were phenomenal. Yeah, Grandpa Joe.
Wow.
So whenever we started playing together, I mean, I was just, like you said, I was young, and I just remember initially just being kind of nervous, you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
God, these guys are, like, phenomenal. They've been on tour. They've done all kinds of stuff, and
Wow.
I'm still kind of, the new kid on the block. So, yeah, I mean, that was kind of my initial thoughts of Nothing Face when we started. And then as things went on, we went through so many different changes in that band, from when we started to the end of the group.
So
in such a quick period of time.
What were the influences what changes that we were? Do you remember all the changes that we went through?
Oh gosh, man. Well, you brought up Sebastian Bach. We kind of had like a Skid Row Pantera thing right in the beginning. You guys remember?
Yep,
Yes, uh-huh.
absolutely.
Yep.
And then as things kind of went on, I was really into the band live at that
No,
time.
before that.
Before that.
We were
Alice in Chains wannabes.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, Alice in Chains. Yeah, can't leave them out. Yeah, we totally became obsessed with those guys for sure.
Yeah.
And
But
then,
yeah, Alice in Chains. You remember at Dream Theater? We kind of had some stuff that
Yep.
was really kind of tech metal
Really?
kind of stuff.
Me and Matt sitting around in my mom's trailer. He's beating on the table, doing out
Wow.
the beats, and I'm playing guitar with no amp.
So cool.
Working out all this crazy
Yep,
stuff.
absolutely.
Man.
And then, of course, Alice in Chains, and then eventually into the band live and some
Hmm.
different stuff like that, kind of what would be, I guess, considered modern rock later. But at that time, that was kind of on Live's first record. So they were kind of like college rock, I guess you would say.
well, then the
whatever,
second
but-
album came out too, and we really loved that one.
Yeah, Throwing Copper.
Yep, Throwing Copper. Great album. When we really kind of got into that, we really started kind of like really getting into our instruments. And then, Mark was like, recording us, and
Right.
we were doing 4 tracks. And I remember going in there, and it's like, all right, Scott, your bass time. And I just remember being like so frustrated that I just like had to throw my bass down, get the walk out of
Really?
there. I just, because it was frustrating, and he wants perfection. He
Well,
wanted
sure,
he wanted
man.
perfection back then.
Attaboy.
I've always been that way.
Yeah, me
and,
too,
and, and to be honest with you, that's really helped me grow.
Right.
It helped me grow as a bass player.
Right.
But I did get frustrated.
Sure.
And pissed off, and we would get in arguments and stuff because, we're best friends. But then when it came to recording, Mark just had there was no friendship. It's like,
Business.
cut it out. It was all business.
The sad thing is, though, those recordings
business.
are so terrible. Gotta listen back. It's so
that
terrible.
right?
We made so many mistakes, or I made so many mistakes. We had a big 24-channel PV board in our little practice pad, so I would mix like all the drums on the board, and then we would record them down. And we bumped all the drums, added all the effects and everything, and then recorded everything over that. So,
Wow.
like late in the process, like, oh, I've got too much reverb. guess what? Too
Too
bad.
late.
Yeah, it's in there now forever.
Too late.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez,
So
man.
You're stuck with it.
Live and
I
learn.
remember going
Learning
next door.
processes.
There was
Right.
even a guy that had a little recording studio next door to Matt's, and that was our first recording session was next door.
Bart Kelly.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And that's when we did No Sorrow and
Yeah,
other cool
we
tunes.
rented his board, and those are the recordings I was talking about.
And it was a good time for me because not only was I learning how to play bass and I was crafting it, I was trying to learn it and do well, but they also gave me the freedom in that band to write lyrics.
Yeah, which you're very good at.
Oh, yeah.
You're very
But
good at
it was
that.
it was cool because Mark was like writing the music.
Sure.
Okay, and then Ben, he had the melodies
Right.
of the vocals.
Right.
And then Matt was the
arrangement.
He did all
Yep.
the arrangements.
Is that
And
right?
yeah, it was like a four in, four out.
That's
we
cool,
were
man.
just a band and we worked hard. I mean,
Now,
really
how
did.
many years were you guys together? Do you know?
I want to say like four or
Four,
five.
something, five,
Four,
something.
So
five.
do you, and all of you can answer this, do you guys have I don't know if you got to play any big shows. Did you guys have a
Yeah,
favorite?
we opened up for Bullet Boys. It was
Oh,
awesome.
So was that
Back
your
in the
favorite?
heyday.
Was
Yeah.
that your favorite
Wichita,
show?
Kansas.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Bullet Boys. We also we'd go there and we play Windjammer and we did a lot of those type of shows. But we had a hell of a fun time.
Yeah,
we
sounds
really
like
did. And then eventually Matt started seeking other things that he wanted to do. And musically. And,
Right. Right.
And at that point, me and Mark didn't really know what to do. So I ended up joining. I had Jeff Skostopol.
Right.
And Adrian, and they came in, and they were scouting me at the Windjammer.
Yeah.
When Nothing Face was playing, and then I met them at Jake's, and then I ended up joining Sybil's Machine. But this isn't about me. This is
Right.
about these guys.
Right.
So
So Matt, after Nothing Face, you did Steve Franson and Phil Tarrant. I could not remember the name of the band. Something.
So
Gus
it had two
or-
names. Well, it started off as Barking Spider. This was Steve Franson's
Yes.
name that he came up with. So we started out as that. We played under that name for, I don't know, 6-7 months, something like that. And then we changed the name over to Gus Witherspoon. But that band, we played we probably played a handful of shows total.
Right.
But we wrote like crazy. I mean, we had it was like a double album of material that we could have put out. I mean, really a ton of songs, but we didn't play a lot of gigs. We probably played a handful of gigs, and then that was it.
Now, there's one thing I want to ask before we move along in the timeline of you guys' stories. I hear these, Scott has his late night phone calls with you, Matt, and I hear these.
Yeah, right.
I always hear this. There's discussions about possibly re-recording some of the Nothing Face material. So, is that something you guys ever think you might actually really do? Mark's nodding.
it's all on Matt. To be honest with you.
It's all in
I'm
Matt.
totally in. I'm totally
He
in.
says he's in.
Yeah, it's one of those things you talk about, and it's just kind of getting actually the
Right. It's so hard.
gumption
I
to
know.
move on.
I
Yeah,
know.
we've all got a million things going,
I'll
but
be-
eventually, yes, we're all
Sure.
interested in doing it.
Sure.
It's just when everybody has
And
the
I'll
time.
be honest with
Sure.
you, have we had the experience that we have now back then
Right.
as like musical, our craft and all that, man, we'd be really good, I think.
I think
I
it
really,
would-
I really do.
I mean, he was just kind of ragging on the old recordings, but can you guys imagine your songs with his recording ability now?
Oh, I do all the time.
Dude.
I'll go
wow.
and listen to those, and I'm like, oh man, I would kill these.
Dude, I
Kill
know.
'em.
I hope you guys, even if it's just like 2 or 3 of them, I hope you guys will make that happen because I know you were a good band, and I'm sure that holds a lot of special memories for y'all, and it'd be cool to hear those kind of redone with, everybody's ability being so much more now than it was back then. It'd
Right.
be
I mean,
amazing.
back then we tried to get Matt to like sing and stuff, and he just wouldn't do it.
Right.
And then he like turned into like this
Amazing
awesome
singer.
Lead
singer,
singer,
and
yeah.
like, whoa, dude, like where the hell
Right.
does this come from, asshole?
Right,
Like,
right.
Hey, we had 3-part harmonies between you, Mark, and Ben. What
Yeah.
did you need?
Man,
man,
it's
we
true.
need you to like help us out every now and then,
Okay.
a little haze here and there.
So do we want to move? Do we want to move to the next phase of Mark's timeline,
Sure.
and then we'll move to the next phase
Absolutely.
of Matt's timeline?
Let's do it.
All right. So what did you do after Nothing Face? Hold that sucker up there. Man.
He saw me at Kane's Ballroom.
Ooh,
Sybil's.
yeah, Sybil's Machine.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
you guys were in.
Strutter.
They were in the studio, and recording the last bit of their album, and they had went bowling, like a band bowling trip or something, invited me to go bowling.
Trying to fight cops.
Yeah, it was crazy, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun times.
Sweet.
But I went back to the studio with them and watched them recording. They were Sid Falk was doing the producing from
Wow.
Overkill.
Yep.
And I was really impressed with all their songs and just the whole vibe. And they were possibly looking about adding a second guitar player, and that's where we went. And that was, for me, Sybil's was like my kind of last hurrah to try to do something.
Sure.
You know, actually trying to make it in
Yeah.
the music business
Gotcha.
with my own material. You
Gotcha.
know, and we were together for what? Over a year before we played our first show.
Yeah.
Really?
We would just be in Scotch DePaul's house, dude, in his bedroom, just hours and hours
5
and hours
days, 6
writing,
days a
writing,
week.
writing.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
we thought
writing.
Nothing Face. We practiced a lot there.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that right?
God, it
yeah,
was
and we were, and
unbelievable.
me
A whole
and
nother level.
me and
Yeah.
Jeff were slave drivers too. Like it'd be like the finals, and the Bulls would be playing, and we were like, "We're not canceling band practice, Scott." He just wouldn't show up.
What a jerk.
Oh man, I got a cough.
Man.
Yeah, your cough is called
The
Michael
Bulls,
Jordan.
The Bulls were on fire
Yes,
back
they were.
then. I mean,
I
the
know.
world was watching. I didn't want.
know.
I didn't want to let go of it,
I
and
know.
I'm glad I
Sure.
didn't, because we did slave hard, and we did practice a lot.
did. We
there
really
was
did.
it was a, now I think back at it, and I felt bad about it, but now that we're like bringing all this up, fuck no.
Not really. Yeah, and like I said, we
Scott
were
had
you know,
Jordanitis at the
Yeah,
time.
we
had-
That's what it was.
Right.
practicing
I
5,
remember-
6, 7 nights a week.
That
It's
is
like, what were we thinking?
hardcore.
He was
man.
4-tracking when we were doing Nothing Face,
Right.
And he didn't want me to tell him the score, and I remember busting in through the in downtown
Yeah.
Sepulpa
Yep.
in the
Yeah.
building. Bulls win! You know, they beat the Suns, Phoenix Suns.
And
yeah.
did these guys even care?
Oh,
They're-
yeah, we were all
oh.
into it. We were
Yeah,
all into
no.
it.
Oh, cool.
I hated the Bulls.
Oh, you of course you always hate the teams. he
Yes,
loves.
that's what you do.
Oh my god.
Scott loves Dallas, so I have to hate Dallas.
Yeah, and-
Scott loves the Bulls. I hated the Bulls. That's the way it
You know
was.
what he told me about you? He said you won't even pick Dallas Cowboy fantasy football players, even if it would benefit your team.
That is a true statement.
Oh my god, dude! Come on, man.
That is a true statement. Because then
Crazy.
I would have to root for that player to
And
do
that
well.
just hurts you inside.
It's like OU players. It's like
know.
the receiver that just went.
yeah, how quickly you turned on CeeDee
Yeah,
Lamb,
he's dead to me.
right?
He's-
Oh my god.
CeeDee Lamb
So-
is dead to me now.
So we're at Sybil's Machine.
Sorry.
Yes, sorry.
And we'll go ahead and we'll stop that there. So we
Okay.
did a whole lot, and we got a lot to talk about there. So let's fast forward, Mr. Brantley.
Okay, Matt. So what's going on in your life at that era?
That's 96,
So while they're
98.
playing in Sybil's, I'm trying to think. Okay, so while they're playing in Sybil's, Gus Witherspoon eventually stopped playing together, and I got hooked up with a guy, Chuck Martin, that worked for my mom over actually at the golf course. He used to play in a band called Paper Cranes, and he worked for my mom at La Fortune Golf Course,
Right.
and eventually he played in a band called Dragonfly. You remember those guys?
Sure.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh
and
yeah.
paper cranes. Yep.
And anyway, he called me and was like, "Hey, what are you doing? Let's put something together." So we started a band called Royal Crush. So I was playing with that band. As a matter of fact, we played.
Edgefest or
what
Birthday
was it?
Bash.
It was like Birthday Bash.
Yeah,
I
so
couldn't remember.
Sybil's was on at a certain time slot, but you guys were on a different stage, and it was all that mud, when all that mud was going
Yep.
down.
Yes.
And we played the left stage, and you played the right. And I remember I was like, wow, this is like a Nothing Face kind of reunion.
Right.
You know?
I know. Well, you and I got to kind of hang out a little bit and catch up before our bands played later in the day. But anyway, that's kind of what was happening in my world. We were just basically playing, did a lot of music showcases, played some gigs around town, recorded a CD, went through a ton of different vocalists at that time.
Really.
Originally, we had a guy named Doug Presley. Then we went to Phil Tanner. Then he's the guy that recorded the record with us. And then after that, Laren Simpson, who's still playing around town doing acoustic stuff now. So
Wow. And he
that's kind of what was happening around
Charlie,
the same time.
Charlie on bass, right? Or was that
Yep,
those?
yep. Well, that was Chuck. We called
Okay,
him Charlie.
Chuck.
Yeah,
Okay, my bad.
No, you're good.
I remember him, the bald-headed guy, right?
little bald-headed guy.
Yep.
So you did Royal Crush for a couple of years, and then how did you meet Jenny, or did you already know Jenny and just get into her band?
Well, so Royal Crush had we were still playing at the time, and I think it was Chuck that had heard through the grapevine that she was looking to get a different band together. At that time, she had her brother Benji playing drums. And anyway, so Lauren and Chuck and I talked to her. I think Chuck is actually the one that orchestrated a good part of that. But we ended up playing with Jenny and played with her for, gosh, a year, year and a half. And she was dating Jim Newquist at the time.
Okay.
And they were trying to focus more on her original stuff.
Oh, okay.
And and by that time I was writing songs, Chuck was writing songs.
Right.
And we kind of had our own original music that we were set on working on. So we ended up going to Nashville and recording our stuff. And then Jenny got Paul Cristiano and Paul Latta. And then Laren ended up staying. And they continued on playing with Jenny. And then at that time, gosh, we recorded a bunch of stuff. That's around the time that Randy, who I played with in the Hi-Fidelics, came into the picture. So that would have been around 99.
Okay.
I think I jumped ahead a little bit. So you guys
That's
are,
okay.
and Sybil's around 98. So
No, you're fine. That's cool.
So at this period, now we are full in Sybil's Machine.
Okay.
And we're recording.
Mm-hmm.
We recorded the first album. And we're playing everywhere they'll have us.
Literally, if it had a stage, we would play there.
Really?
For real. Dude, we showed up at one bar and we're like, they're like, do you have a house PA? Oh yeah, we do. We showed up. They had one Radio Shack microphone and one monitor, and the stage was so small. We put Scott down by the front door. And this is no bullshit. If somebody would try to come in the door to come in the venue, and Scott would have to move while he's playing to let them come in through the door.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, good times.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
I think it was like in Missouri or somewhere, maybe.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we've all done gigs like that, but I don't think I've ever done a gig like that.
But we played everywhere, and
Really?
we had good shows, bad shows, the whole 9 yards. But then we decided to do a double album.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah.
Good Lord, why?
Well, no, seriously. Let's talk about that. Whose concept was that?
We just had too many. It was basically, we had been just writing.
Right.
And so as we're, trying to get ready to go into the studio and decide what we're doing, we're all like, well, that song can't go. That's my favorite jam.
Sure.
No, that one can't go. And we're sitting there literally checking off, and it's like, well, we're down to 27. What are we going to do now?
Oh, my goodness.
And what's so cool about back then, it was like a lot of Mark's songs that he wrote, he didn't like, but they were like my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
The songs that I would write, he was like his favorites.
That would be the one I wanted to keep.
Right,
Sure.
right. So we were like, wow, that's cool. All right, well, whatever. And then Jeff, he was a great songwriter.
Yeah.
Great songwriter.
For sure.
His lyrics were cool.
Yeah.
And they even gave me some freedom on a few songs to write some lyrics as well
Right.
with that band. But it was, lyrically, it was all Jeff with his.
Who wrote? I have to ask, who wrote the lyrics to "Dreamer"? Was that you?
Yeah.
That's a good song, man.
Yeah,
it's a good
thank
song.
you.
Nice
Thank you.
job.
Appreciate that.
Good job.
Wow, I haven't heard that literally in
I haven't either.
Well,
15 years.
I'll just interject at this. When I first met him, I can't remember if you gave me a copy of the double album.
No,
but
that someone else did that.
Oh, someone else. Oh, okay. I listened to that thing religiously because I've told the story before. I was
You
late.
actually went and bought it.
Did I really?
Yeah, you
I
told
thought
me
someone-
that. You said you went and bought it.
Oh, I did. You're right. See, I have a bad memory, but I listened to it religiously. I'm always late. I was always late to the game because I was in a different circle back then. So, like you guys had already done all this stuff, and in mid 2000s, late 2000s, I'm discovering it. But I thought that was just a fantastic albums, both of them.
It was extremely ambitious for a local band to put out a double album. Like, it's really pretentious to do that.
So how did people receive it? I mean, it was received well, right?
Yeah,
It was.
I still think we should have, if we would have trimmed it down and did one really, really strong
Right.
album, it would have been better. It was just,
Right.
we were
But,
young, we wanted to
Sure.
do it. We said,
Yeah.
screw it, this is what
but,
we want.
now that we didn't do it,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool to have those songs recorded.
Sure.
It is. Don't get me wrong. It's cool that we have a double album out.
So was it a lot more expensive to do a double album?
We were in the studio like,
Constantly.
It was like church. I mean, like church.
We
on
lived there,
Monday,
yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, we lived
Wow.
there.
And it was back to Walt Bowers at the 25th track again.
Right.
And that's
Broken Arrow
when
the
Mark
Morning.
really started dialing in his production.
Did
right there.
Walt let you kind of have a say
Yes.
so?
It
Did
was
he
done.
really?
Me and Jeff would basically run the show.
Right.
Walt would come in if we run in any kind of problem, stuff that was a little over our head. He
Right.
would come in and help us. And then at the end, he came in and kind of helped us mix everything down.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
and then there
Toward
was
the end.
even a period where Mark was like, "Get out of the way, everybody!
Dude, I went in one
Everybody,
night.
get out of the way! I'm now. like
taking over.
He started taking over there.
I went in one night and we had this particular song and it was my kind of little solo section and I went in and I overdubbed like 6 guitar parts and I worked like 8 hours and I scrubbed them all.
Did
by
you
mistake.
really?
Yeah, I came in the next morning. Wait till you guys hear what I did last
Oh
night.
no, dude. No.
Oh my God.
Enter
The worst.
Mike Vines.
Enter Mike Vines. I was so mad I refused to play the solos again. I was like, fuck that.
Do you remember what song that was?
Oh God, it's whichever one Mike played on. I know the song in my
That's
head,
cool.
but I don't know the
That's
name.
all right.
So we literally called him up and we're like, hey, I'd send it to him. He was like, what key's it in? Showed up.
Yeah.
No bullshit. Shows up and just
Nailed it.
No,
whips
no,
it off.
No, he didn't. He
Jeez.
didn't just come in and nail it. No, not at all.
He didn't?
Actually, he was really rusty,
Sorry, Mike.
and we were like, just couldn't take that. Oh God, it was awful. Hey, let's go to Quick Trip. Let's go get a case of
a beer.
Oh.
He's right. That's
Okay.
true, dude.
And we were like,
Okay.
drink him up,
Okay.
Mr. Mike Vines.
And then he
so
just shredded.
And then we're all.
Yeah, and he was
We're all
purposely. This was the back in the time when metal was kind of a dirty word.
Sure.
And none of us wanted to be associated with metal. We were
Right.
trying to get away from that whole thing.
Right.
Sadly.
Yeah,
and,
no kidding.
And he was really laying back. You know what I mean? And we're
Yep.
like, dude, you're here because you can do shit that me and Jeff Scotchbull
Right.
cannot do. So
Right.
play.
Right.
And he finally started kind of loosening
That's
up a
super
little bit,
cool.
and
That's-
doing his real deal shit.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So
Good time.
Let's pull Matt back in.
Hi, Matt.
I was shocked. I didn't realize how long the Hi-Fidelics have been together. So you guys started, was it 99 that you started?
Let's see. We started. No. We started. We've been together for 10 years.
Oh, I'm
So-
sorry. I'm looking at your timeline you sent me, and maybe I'm reading it wrong.
Well, it says Simon Starbuck or something.
Oh, okay. My bad. Anyway,
Yeah, Randy and I started playing together in '99, and we played
Okay.
through
So you and Randy have
several
been together
different
20
bands
years.
between then.
okay, that's my bad. Okay. So then I jumped way too far ahead, so we'll back up a minute. So you did Simon Starbuck, and then you did a band called Mudville. I remember Mudville. Remind me what style Mudville did.
Mudville was kind of like sort of a singer-songwriter Americana kind of rock thing.
Wow.
It was Greg Klaus, Grant Vespasian played bass, Chuck played bass on some of the stuff, and then Randy Patton and myself.
Right.
And that thing kind of was it was really just kind of started out as a studio project. Greg Klaus, Greg played guitar with Fanzine. You guys probably remember Greg from that band.
Sure.
But, Greg had like entered I think it was Guitar Player or Guitar World, one of those magazines, like a sweepstakes that he'd been entering for years to try to win.
Huh.
And finally won.
Oh my goodness.
And won recording time in Nashville at this really killer studio called Dark Horse. And then he won tickets to the NAMM show. And he asked us, you guys want to go to Dark Horse and record a record and go to the Nashville NAMM show? And we're like, well, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Man.
So that's kind of what started out as the birth of that band. He had a bunch of songs that he had written that were totally didn't fit in with the fanzine thing that they were doing. So
And I have to tell you, Matt, a funny story. I see that in that lineup was Grant. Am I saying Vespasian? Is that correct?
that's it. Yeah.
If memory serves me correctly, Grant was a judge. I think he was either a judge or a contestant at a guitar contest that I was in. And
Did you win?
probably not. There were 2 contests. I entered one
It's
at the
Grant's fault.
It's probably his Grant's fault. I entered one at
Where
the.
is he?
Yeah, let's take him out right now. I was like
Grant.
16, and I played in one at the Windjammer. My folks had to take me, of course, and I think I tied for 3rd. And then the next year was the Sades one, and I won that one. And I went up against a guy, well, a lot of people, but there was a guy named Eric Blackwell, redheaded guy. Do you guys remember him? Maybe not. But anyway.
I don't know.
But I think the sentiment was, well, they let her win because she's a girl.
Oh.
So,
Boo.
that just puts that chip on your shoulder. Just, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's all good. But yeah, I definitely remember. I saw that name. I thought, man, he either judged a contest or was in one. But
I think Grant actually won.
that sounds
one
right.
of those. I'm not sure.
I think maybe it was the one at Windjammer. That might be the one I'm thinking of. But that's super cool.
And so then
Small
you did
world.
what? Mudville? Was that next?
Yeah, that's what we just talked about.
no.
After that is what was is it Redeco? What was that?
Oh, Red Echo. Okay,
Red
so that
Echo.
was So while we were recording all of the Mudville,
You're Italian. You're Italian band. Sorry. Go ahead.
that was a bunch of songs that
The
Randy had
Oneaters.
written.
Matt Brantley,
The
I didn't know you were in the
exactly.
Oneaters.
Man.
You know, I'm talking about the Wonder. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry,
Trip
Matt.
chat
That was my
shooters.
blonde moment. Okay, go for it. Red Echo. Go.
No, that was a bunch of songs that Randy had written. While we were working on a bunch of the songs that I had written and the Simon Starbuck stuff, Randy had a ton of songs himself.
Yeah.
And he bought some studio equipment and
Right.
decided he was going to start working on the recording of those things. So actually, we might be getting ahead of your timeline, but Randy and I recorded
You're never ahead of her.
that record, and then I was playing with Daryl Cole at the time.
Oh, okay.
And so when Randy started playing live, he actually got Jason Gilardi to come play drums, and they formed, I guess you would say the live version, or actually Red Echo the band. I mean, what Randy and I had done in the studio was really just kind of a studio project, just he and I. I played drums, he played everything else.
Cool.
That's
So
awesome.
that's kind of the story of Red Echo.
So that point in time is 2003.
And Derek Cole, I mean, he's all over the place.
Oh yeah, yeah,
All over the place.
for sure.
I think he even comes on our
Yeah, we
streams.
played a
He comes
ton.
on our streams a lot and watches our streams. So
And your timeline says you were with him from 03 to 2011. That's a long stretch.
Yeah, we played a lot. It started out, I was in school at the time, going to NSU, and we got kind of hooked up in the casino world, and we got really busy. So I kind of took a semester off school and then just ended up never going back because we got so slammed.
Wow.
So that's kind of the Daryl Cole element of things. And that thing went to, we played a ton of shows with Daryl, and then we ended up forming a second band. That's where Randy kind of came into the picture on the casino end of things. We were called Sofa Kingdom,
Right.
and it was Phil Tanner and Randy and myself. And so we played a ton of shows with that, and then eventually we ended up going as a duo. So that kind of became
Right.
the birth of the Hi-Fidelics
Sure.
or whatever. So
Okay, so I'm going to pause you. We're going to jump back to the goofballs I'm sitting next to right here. Okay, so that's Matt's world. So now Sybil's is doing its thing and kicking butt.
we played all over the place.
Right.
And then we started messing around with Imzadi. Started messing around with Imzadi and stuff like that.
What
Right.
happened was basically Sybil's was always trying to walk the edge of a cover band versus an original band versus both. And toward the end, Jeff did not want to play covers anymore.
Okay.
He was basically like, we're going to do originals, and it doesn't pay, so do what you have to do
Sure.
for you and yours, but we're not going to be a cover band anymore.
Right on. Okay.
So he's like, you do what you have to do. I guess everybody's going to have to go get jobs, and we'll still just be an original band. So I went out and got a job. He didn't, and Jeff didn't, and nobody else did. So I'm now working. Yeah, and they'd be like, okay, we're going to have band practice at Hullabaloo's
I framed houses, dude.
at midnight. And I'd be like, you're having band practice at midnight because
I'm not.
I'm got to get up and work in the morning.
Right.
Anyway, so it basically just got, we'd been together a long, long time.
Sure.
And, living together in very tight quarters most of
Right.
that time, and
Totally get
tiny
it.
bedrooms, and in our van that we used to tour around in and stuff.
Yeah.
So honestly, I was just kind of ready
Sure.
to move on.
Gotcha.
And Imzadi, which I heard the McCabe interview,
Mm-hmm.
and they had been together for some time. Well, Kevin Sack decided he wanted to leave and concentrate on his family and do some other things, for himself. And so they called me up, and I was technically playing with Imzadi and still in Sybil's.
Right.
And I decided to go ahead and just let it go
Yeah.
and do Imzadi full time.
Yeah.
And then, so I did that for 10 years. And
Man,
at that
that's
point,
amazing.
I basically gave up on on originals.
Sure.
I was just happy to go out and play on the weekends, make
You
a little
bet.
money, and enjoy myself. And
We all hit that point where
Yeah.
it's kind of like a reality check. Like, I love playing, but the dream is not going to happen for me. So the next best thing is to, do what we do, right?
yeah, and people slag on it, and that's cool. I get where they're coming from,
Sure.
that we're not real artists or whatever. And I get that. I understand where they're coming from, but I don't give a shit.
No, nor should you.
I worked many years
Yes.
for fucking free.
Sure.
Right.
Scraping and peanut butter jelly sandwiches and fucking ramen noodles, and
Yep.
I'm finally
Ramen
at
noodles.
I'm finally
I
at a
love
point
ramen
where I
noodles.
can make a little money doing
It's
what
nice,
I
isn't
enjoy.
it?
So fuck it. I want to get paid.
I
Sometimes.
understand.
No,
I totally
I'm okay.
get it.
I'm
But-
okay with that.
You
But
bet, dude.
here's the good little golden nugget.
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 Hey, did you know there's a man from Nantucket? And
Just
anyway.
go ahead with your nugget. I'm waiting for your
A
nugget.
little nugget. So, while he's making this money, suddenly Imzadi just takes the hell off.
I know.
So bad, it's like left everyone in the dust. I mean, seriously.
Right.
It was just a party, dude.
Yep.
It was crazy.
It was just one of those things where things just kind of happened
Yeah.
perfectly at the time. McCabe was in his fucking prime when he
Right.
was just fucking killing it.
Right.
Killing it.
Right.
And all we had to do was basically just guide him in the right direction.
Sure.
You know, just
Sure.
don't burn anything down, Steve.
Right.
You know, don't.
He's
don't
like a
destroy
bull in a
anything.
china
Right.
shop.
For real, no, for real. But you know, that was why people flocked out to
Absolutely.
come and see us, man. Because
Well, you-
McCabe was the shit.
Yeah, you heard our interview with him. I mean, I told him, you know, he's a legend. He's a legend, and people. There's so many people that we've talked to, and they've said McCabe is an influence. So undoubtedly, the guy is special.
Absolutely.
But I'm telling you, his band is special as well. You guys had a magic and a chemistry, and you couldn't go to an Imzadi show and have any elbow room. It was amazing.
It was like this. The Plumbers were playing, and they were the big hot band at the
Right,
time.
right.
And they did dance, and they would do like a little bit of rap, but it would be more like the clean,
Right.
you know,
Right.
Run DMC and stuff
Sure,
like that.
sure,
you know what
sure.
I mean?
Yep.
And we were like the first band that came out and did hardcore fucking gangster rap. No,
Right.
I'm serious, dude. No bullshit. No.
Right.
And it was hard to get McCabe on board at first, because honestly, when we first started, you know, we were, you know, kind of here, and it was more of like a modern rock band.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make more money, and I see these
I
other
get
bands
it.
playing, and so it started with Brick House. That was our first.
Yep. That's when you
foray.
sell your soul to the
Yep,
devil.
that's
Is Brick
that-
House.
that is no bullshit. And I
Right.
remember, and McCabe fought me on that. He fought me. No, that's not who we are. We're not going to go there, Mark. And of course, I finally broke him down, being the persistent bitch that I am,
Right.
and broke him down. And you know, he did it, and then we started seeing the results from that.
Sure.
So we just said, you know, screw it, and we did everything with
Oh,
balls out
always.
intensity.
Now,
always.
Now you were in
So-
that band for 10 years.
10 years.
And-
A cover band.
And you, at one point, you and Steve became two guys that were running the show,
Yeah,
right? Basically, I mean,
It's like this. Everybody, we knew in the band, we knew that people were there to see Steve. So it was about what does Steve do best and what can we get out there. And we just basically got out the way. Now, my job, personally, was to make sure Steve didn't go off the rails.
Sure.
So I walked that line of trying to take care of business part of it. And we finally got an agent, Box Talent.
Yeah.
So we started getting better gigs. And so it was, we all had our own little things that made everything
Of course.
work in
Right.
that band. You know,
Right.
we all knew what our place was, and we, like I said, we wrote it as long as we could for
Right.
those particular members.
Right.
And like I said, we finally ended up splitting, and as we know, we talked about, Steve McCabe's still doing it,
Sure.
and still doing it with great
Oh,
players.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really cool.
Okay.
Killing it.
Okay, so pausing the goofballs next to me, we're going back to Matt. So, Matt, what's going on in your world during? It looks like you did a band called Voyager. I remember Voyager. You guys were super cool. Tell us a little bit about Voyager.
So Voyager started, it was one of three bands. So we had Daryl Cole originally, and then Phil and Randy and myself formed Sofa Kingdom. And then at that point, Randy still had a day job, and he was just two bands, and trying to do that was just killing him. So we ended up bringing Randy into the Daryl Cole band. And then at that point, I'm trying to think, that's when we all kind of formed Voyager, and Randy fronted that band, and it was basically the Daryl Cole band, but we just kind of musical chairs, you know?
Wow.
Randy was fronting it, and Daryl was just kind of playing guitar.
Right.
But, so yeah, we were playing with three bands at the casinos, and that was just crazy.
Wow. Wow.
And that was all 70s,
So I think
right?
that was around
70s
that?
music? Isn't that what you were doing there?
Yeah, yeah.
Voyager, wasn't it like all
Voyager
70s?
was kind of a straight up classic rock band. Yeah.
Super cool. Super cool. And then
So I think around the time that you were doing Imzadi, Mark, Randy, and Chuck and I were kind of tipping on, starting to stick our toe in the water for the cover thing. We had a band called Hi-Fi, which is kind of where the whole Hi-Fidelics thing kind of spawned from, because it was still Randy and I. But.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember that.
okay, that's cool.
And I remember Mark coming to a show. You came out one night. I think you had played with Imzadi somewhere in the area, and we were playing a little show at Arnie's downtown.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
Mark popped in. Do you remember that?
Absolutely.
That's
So,
cool.
and we got to catch up a little bit. But another little funny spin on this is that Laren, the guy that was the lead vocalist in Royal Crush that plays out and does all the acoustic stuff, Kevin Stack and Laren do a lot of duo stuff. And Kevin, I know you said left
Yep.
Imzadi right before you came in, Mark. So just another little small world moment,
And then I'm telling you, man, Tulsa's very small. I mean, it just keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Hey, that's a song from
Smaller and smaller and smaller.
smaller and smaller.
Faith No More.
Faith No More.
Hey, there you are. Okay. I just now realized, Matt, I haven't put your picture up on the screen yet, so I'm going to do that.
Oh God, let's get him on
I'm
there.
kind of screwing up. We're a little bit out of practice tonight. It's been a couple weeks.
Well, yeah,
there
I mean-
you are. There's your smiling,
You know
singing
what?
face
That's what
right
we
there.
get right there for taking off and do
I know.
Memorial Day weekend.
I know. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when we go back and try to play a band show? Oh my god!
So, Mark, at
Been there,
this,
done that.
At this point, you guys are just slamming it, and the girls going crazy for your band. They're all over the place. There's dancers, whole 9 yards. I mean, you're starting to get yourself into the casinos. You're making some big dough, and things are just looking up. What the hell happened?
Well, I mean, we rode that wave for like 5 years or something. I mean, there was a long period of time that it was just a train, and it's
Right.
basically like this. As long as you don't
Derail.
fuck anything up and just
Right.
mess it up, then the train runs on its
goes.
own. Yeah,
Yep.
we literally did that for years and years and years. And then Todd Edwards, who I play with in DMS, he was doing other projects around
Right.
town, and the whole Small World thing,
The
playing in
Element.
covers. The Element, that was his band. Yeah.
The Element,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember that.
And him and me and Darren Westbrooks, who was with me in Imzadi, talked about doing an 80s project for just like literally we had zero expectations. It was going to be like a Wednesday at Elephant Run
Right.
for beer money, $100
wow.
if we made, whatever. We didn't care.
Yeah.
And when we first started, we were kind of doing really odd stuff like, Crocus and
Oh wow!
Loudness and,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah, my gosh.
really off the wall stuff. Because, like I said, it was about just the '80s.
Sure.
And I was in a successful cover band who's been playing, no offense, music that I didn't enjoy.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I don't like playing Brick House, and I don't like playing funky music, and I didn't like playing Kanye West.
I understand.
And
dude.
after
What about
doing-
Dr. Dre? Was that kind of cool?
It was at first. It was actually cool.
Tupac-
Yeah,
Tupac
when we
was
were
on
doing
it.
all that hardcore rap shit, it was actually kind of cool at the time. But like anything, when you've
Sure.
done it 5, 6, 7, 8 years,
Right.
eventually the fun wears off of it, and it was
Sure,
like
sure.
a job,
Right.
Sure.
And I'm getting older, my body's starting to break down, and so I'm still playing with Imzadi, doing a lot of shows, and then I joined DMS. And like I said, we went through a bunch of different changes really early, trying to kind of figure out where everything went. Even Darren wanted to be more like what we are now.
Oh,
More of a straightforward,
Sure.
play the popular songs,
Yep.
and be more people friendly.
right.
When we started, we weren't going to be that.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, as we kind of went along, those songs kind of fell to the wayside, and we became a little more,
Mainstream.
mainstream.
A little bit. Yeah.
And we finally got our lineup settled, and we rehearsed for about a year before we ever played our first show.
Wow.
And,
I didn't
we-
realize that.
yeah, when we
Wow.
first came out, we played Fishbones Owasso was our first show. And we all had black dickies,
Yep.
and that was our deal. And one Halloween, I think it was Gilardi said, "Hey, man, let's dress up as 80s."
This is
And
at C.J. Maloney's,
CJ
right?
Maloney's,
Wow.
yeah. And so one Halloween, we dressed up, and I told the guys, if we do this, we're never going back.
Oh,
I'm telling you,
really?
yeah. If we put these wigs and spandex on, we're never going back, because when people see this, that's the show that they're going to want.
Yeah.
They're not going to want the black shirt
Sure.
DMS anymore. They're going to want this version of it.
And-
How long did you do the black shirt version? About a year?
Something like that.
Okay.
I
And-
don't know exactly.
So we're at this point where nothing can get better than Imzadi at that point in this town. Nothing.
Sure.
Okay. In my opinion, suddenly, Dead Metal Society does this.
Well,
And
okay.
then-
So at the beginning, this is while we're still black shirts. I'm in both bands.
Okay.
And it just started to get to the point where I was just worn down. I mean,
Sure.
I physically couldn't do both of the projects
Right.
anymore. You know,
Right.
like I said, and I was burnt. I was tired of it, and things were going good for DMS.
Mm-hmm.
What we did was basically we signed an exclusive contract with CJ's for a year.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
See, I never knew that.
I didn't know that
they,
either.
They paid us X amount of dollars per show, and we agreed not to play anywhere else.
Did you play like once a month, once every other month?
Whatever. I think
Yeah.
it was about once a month, maybe a little less or
Wow.
whatever.
I remember being there
Yeah. Yeah.
And
many times.
I was there too. I came to a gig there. I remember.
Super cool.
yeah, I used to love. That was basically our house. That's
Right.
that's where we kind of put this whole thing together. And
Amazing.
like I said, we rehearsed a lot, when we first started, and but the live portion of it, kind of learning how to do each other, and it was weird once we did the wigs and the makeup and the
Right.
whole thing. It was like me and Scotty back in the day, dude. It was like I was a kid again. No
Yeah.
bullshit. And
That's cool.
It made me feel young again.
I
and
get
So
it.
awesome.
And instead of hating going to my shows, like I was at the point with Imzadi, instead of hating being there, it was
Yeah.
like a job.
Refreshing, yeah.
It was something that I enjoyed doing, and it made me like a different person. And I started kind of coming out of my shell
Getting
a
into
little
character.
bit. Yeah,
Yeah, I get it.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
So
The guys that you play in that band, which all of them have super amounts of talent.
Absolutely.
Super amount.
Big time.
Absolutely.
We're talking. I mean,
I've been lucky. Everybody
You're
I played
pulling.
with
You're
has been
pulling.
really
You're
good.
pulling in a drummer from a kick-ass band, a national kick-ass band.
Man.
Jason. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Nope.
And then you pull in Todd. Okay.
Amazing vocalist.
And then you get Ben. Or I'm sorry.
No, yeah.
I'm sorry, Ben. Yeah, Ben. And then you get 9.
Yeah, and everybody, we all have our strengths that we bring to the table,
Yeah.
and everybody knows what those strengths are, and we try to play to them as much as we can.
Don't you agree too that like the bands that do the best are the ones where everybody has a role, knows their role, and then like all the pieces just kind of fit together, and it's like a machine that just moves.
absolutely.
You guys are like a machine
Yeah,
now.
it takes work, and it takes forethought, and it's not just willy-nilly thrown together.
Sure.
There's a lot of thought that goes behind the
Oh,
decisions
I'm
that
sure.
we make.
And you
I'm
even
serious.
you even pulled in a guy that worked with Imzadi,
Chuck.
Chuck, to be your main guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So Chuck started when we brought in JT with the Twisters in the early Imzadi days. So
That's
he
right.
He came with JT. So he basically worked for JT,
Right.
and then as the time went on, Imzadi started trusting Chuck to be, and so he
Wow.
was basically our guy.
Yeah.
There was a point in time where I didn't even load my own gear. I would
Oh,
show up.
spoiled.
No, seriously, for real, it was awesome. I would show up with my guitars. My rig was already set up.
Oh, my
Chuck would set it
goodness.
up. He would break it down, and he kept it in his vehicle and would take it home.
What a good guy.
Dude, it
man.
was so
What
awesome.
a
So
good
anyway,
guy.
that's where me and Chuck started. So.
Gotcha.
You guys just took off though.
So when we started with DMS, at first Chuck came on as my guy,
Right.
And I paid him out of my pocket to come in and help me out and set
Okay.
up my stuff. And as things turned out, he gained the trust of the rest of the guys.
Sure.
And then once we turned the stage show over to him, that's when everything changed.
Yeah.
And everything went from here. to
He's
here.
done.
Right.
I mean, I think we've bragged on him on at least half of these streams.
You have to.
He's amazing. He's amazing.
He is a member of Dead Metal Society.
For sure.
Period.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
When decisions are made, Chuck is included in those.
So-
he is put it this way: if Chuck were gone tomorrow, I would be gone.
I
mean,
totally get that.
That's how strong of a member he
Totally
is,
get
and
that.
part of our.
Do you remember? And we're going to get back to Matt here real quick.
Sorry,
but
Matt.
do you remember the transition between? Okay, we're packing out these clubs to all of a sudden, holy shit!
This thing's
they're
taking
all
off.
over the place. There's
Yeah.
just people just coming to the shows, and they're coming from Arkansas. They're coming from all of these places.
with Dead Metal, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I say another band?
No, I mean we're
No.
just clarifying.
I'm just making sure I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
We're talking about licks, man.
So
We're going
yeah.
back.
So all of a sudden you're going from
It happened really quickly. I
Yes,
mean,
it did.
really, really quickly.
Yeah.
We went from having our regular gig at CJ Maloney's to all of a sudden then it was starting to be casinos.
Wow.
You know, and we were at one point I was playing casinos with DMS and with Imzadi. And then we got a couple of big shows, and we started doing Rocklahoma.
Right.
We played Rocklahoma 5 years in a row, and every time we would play one of these bigger shows, we'd get more and more people.
Mm-hmm.
And as you get more and more people, you go, shit, this is awesome. So we do this, and
Right.
try to get this, and it just slowly built up to the point that we were like, dude, this is awesome.
And
Yeah.
you guys looked really great. I mean, the band looked great. Todd looks great.
Yep.
Nine looks great. I mean, just
Yeah.
a package, just really
You
cool.
guys are a bar setter in town, and everyone knows that.
Yeah.
But you know, Matt, you have also accomplished and reached levels with your group that a lot of people wish they could reach. The Hi-Fidelics, you guys are a staple at the casinos around
and
here.
you play everywhere, and you make tons and tons of money.
Well, that's not our business.
I
That's not our
know.
business
I'm
at
making
all.
it
says
up
no
as I
comment.
go along.
But you know, I mean, how did you and Randy get that thing going and get it to the level it's at now?
So we were playing actually as Sofa Kingdom, and our name was advertised on the Cherokee sign. And believe it or not, a pastor drove by and was like, "Sofa Kingdom."
Uh-oh.
I know what that means.
Ah.
And so he called and complained, and the guy there that was doing the entertainment at the time called me and was like, "Look, we're going to have to change the name. I know that I was all on board, but now we're getting complaints."
Oh boy.
So we wore costumes and stuff in that band, and Phil had kind of stopped wearing his costume along the way. So we decided, well, let's just go ahead and ditch the costumes, and we'll change the band name and learn a bunch of different stuff and
Right.
kind of round out the set. So that kind of was originally it was just going to be a name change and basically learning some new tunes
Wow.
and getting rid of the costumes.
Right.
But Phil at the time he was going through, he had just lost his wife, and he was just kind of in a really rough place. So unfortunately, Randy and I decided that we were just going to carry on. And at first, we talked about getting a different bass player, and it was like, why don't we just track the bass? We'll just track the bass. We've got all kinds of backing tracks in here anyway, and we'll see what happens. So we tracked bass and just a few different background vocals on, like, 3-part harmony stuff, that kind of thing. And carried on as a duo. And I remember we were really nervous because we put a lot of time into this whole deal. Medleys and just a lot of work and song selection. And
Right.
so you kind of have that moment where you're like, wow, we've been working on this stuff steadily for like a year and a half. Haven't even played a show. Now we're going to go out as a duo. What happens if people don't like this? What happens if people are like,
How
"It's
scary.
just two
Scary
guys
shit,
in a
isn't it?
track."
Scary.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Sure.
Like, you guys are pulling it off. I mean,
But yeah, I mean, obviously you go out there and it's super successful. Did your success at the level it's at now happen pretty quickly, or did you guys have to build up to it?
No, it happened. It happened pretty fast. I mean, we
Awesome.
started playing at Hard Rock. They would put us over. There was a little room over there. I don't know if you guys remember. It was called C Note, and it was
Yes.
just kind of a little kind of martini lounge sort of thing. And they started having entertainment over there, and they would book us in conjunction with shows that they had at the joint. So when the shows would let out, we'd catch all the overflow. So that's really kind of where, like Mark was saying with DMS, they kind of built their stuff out of CJ's. That's kind of what Randy and I were doing with C Note.
Wow.
So kind of a similar thing, and then just started playing more casinos and kind of getting out from there.
Yeah.
Eventually, the other two bands, Daryl and Voyager, those bands split up, and Daryl kind of went on his way without us, got a different drummer, and different. I don't think he actually got Actually, he had a couple of different utility guys as well. But anyway, we carried on with Hi-Fidelics, and then we formed another band called Traveler, which was kind of like, it was another classic rock band, kind of like Voyager was. Randy's brother Jamie played bass, and then we had John Russell on guitar.
Right.
And I'm trying to think, that takes you through, gosh, that band was together for several years playing casinos. And then eventually that band split up, and we just continued doing Hi-Fidelics. And I think that pretty much gets you back to where we are now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
we have some viewers in here, and we've been holding them all night, and this is nice. So I want to know, Mark, what is on your Spotify playlist?
Mostly 80s metal.
Nice.
I mean, it's true.
I mean, we like what we like, right?
Yeah, I've got Pink Floyd on there. I've got the Beatles. I've got the only really modern stuff I've got is Ghost.
Yeah.
A lot of Anthrax. Sorry,
There's
Ghost.
Yeah.
A lot of Anthrax.
Mark, any U2? Do you have any U2?
I do have U2. Yeah, that's on my playlist
Oh, there
too.
you go.
And where I work, I have other people that work in the office with me, so I've got my work playlist that has all kinds of stuff, and then
Amy Grant.
not quite that,
Oh,
but
okay, okay.
but definitely. I mean, like there's Neil Diamond.
Oh,
and,
okay. Right.
Stuff that wouldn't be on my. Not
Sure.
that I have anything against Neil Diamond,
Right,
but
it's just not your jam.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's just
gotcha.
not. That's not my thing.
Gotcha.
Matt, what do you have on your playlist?
Man, I mean, literally everything. I'm serious. I mean, if you
You've always been that
you
way,
think I
dude.
had-
For real, everything.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I know people say that, but anything from jazz standards to
Wow.
funk stuff to rock to metal to, I mean, literally, it's all over the place.
Natalie
seriously.
Merchant? You got any Natalie Merchant?
I bet he does.
bet he
I
does.
don't have any Natalie. You stumped me there.
Wow. No shit. Wow.
You know,
I've got some Edie Brickell.
How about Rock
I've got some Edie
Lobster? I
Brickell
bet you got
Little
some
Humans.
Rock Lobster in there.
you know what? I'm not going to tell you about my Spotify playlist, but I will tell you what Scott and I like to pull up on YouTube when we're sleepy. There's actually
Let's hear it.
there's a YouTube video of a box fan, and it just runs for like 7 hours. And so we want to take a little nap. We pull up that bad boy and we crank it on the TV.
So check it.
Oh, do you have
Okay,
it?
DMS, we play a lot of out of towns,
Yeah.
hotels and stuff.
Yeah.
And I travel with a box fan.
So
a
do I,
big
dude.
box
Yeah.
fan.
Me
Okay.
too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's okay. It's my wife's fault, Julie. My wife, Julie Mortensen.
I love you,
I have to
Julie.
give her the shout out because she's been supportive of everything that I've done since she's been around,
She
and she puts up
rules.
with all my shit.
Right.
And as we're all in recording, with Melissa and
I
Mike
know.
and the
And
people
us.
and all that come to my
Yeah.
house, she deals with it every night.
Bless
and
her
deals
heart.
with my. But her family likes fans.
Nice.
Like big fans. Bzzz, the
Yeah.
noise.
Oh,
I never
love
needed
it.
a fan in my day, so
Love it.
once we married, she brought the fan into the relationship, and now not only do I have a fan, I have two fans. I sleep with two box fans in my room.
All right.
So I have multiple apps on my phone
Yes.
for fans. So if I forget my fan and I'm in a hotel room, I will literally put this thing up, bzzz, and it lays right by my
That
head.
is so cool. So I'm not the only weirdo in the
Nope.
world.
No.
Okay, because I
No.
love
Nope.
my box fan
Okay,
too.
so we're going to go real quick here.
Right.
Matt, who is
Yo.
your favorite drummer?
I really,
Give me three. Give me three.
I'll
The
play
one
it
that-
safe.
come on.
Ringo, John Bonham, and a studio guy, Matt Chamberlain, that I'm a big
Wow,
fan of.
solid.
Solid. That's nice.
Matt Chamberlain, wasn't he a drummer in Pearl Jam, like one of the
No,
original
you're
drummers?
thinking of
So,
Smashing
he was.
Pumpkins.
He was one of the originals.
No, wait. No,
Uh-huh.
No,
Matt
that's
Chamberlain.
Matt just said yes, he was.
what,
Yes.
Smashing Pumpkins?
Pearl Jam, right?
Oh, yeah.
No, with Pearl Jam.
Now, there was
He
another...
was in the video for Alive.
But there's
Oh,
another...
wow.
But there's another Chamberlain for, right? Smashing Pumpkins. Who's that drummer?
I
Badass guy?
Jimmy Chamberlain.
Jimmy Chamberlain.
All right.
Jimmy
Wow.
Chamberlain.
So we're both right.
Are we going to ask?
I had a piece.
Hey,
There was an apple.
are we going to ask Mark who his favorite drummer is or guitar player?
All right, Mark. Top three.
Ooh,
Keyboard player, Mark. Go.
Yeah.
keyboard.
Dio,
Harmonica.
Aussies.
Yeah, it's just that is so hard. Okay, so the whole reason I play guitar is Ace Frehley. So
Right on.
Ace has got to be in there for
Nice.
me.
Right on.
And surprisingly, even though I'm such a metalhead, my favorite guitar is probably David Gilmour.
Oh wow. Okay.
And surprisingly, the Edge is in my top 5, but I'm gonna have to go with Randy's got to be in there.
Randy Rhoads. I knew you were going to say
Man,
that.
yeah, he told
the
me
polka
today.
dots.
Yeah.
And a totally obscure band that very few people know about. Like Scott will know, Wayne will know who I'm talking about. Icon.
Oh,
ICON.
sure.
Yeah.
They only had a couple of albums with this particular
Yes.
lineup. I fucking love them.
When
I'm
I-
serious. If I could play like anybody, it wouldn't be George Lynch. It wouldn't be Van Halen. It wouldn't
Really?
be any of those dudes. If I could play like any guitar player, I'd play like the dudes in Icon.
No
Now,
kidding.
When
Wow.
I first
just
met
love
her,
their-
when I first
I
met
love
her,
their style.
She bought me like a Japanese version CD
did.
back in the day of Icon, and it came in through the mail. It was really awesome.
And now I buy you boxers. Things have
I
changed.
couldn't find it. I could not find it. All I had was like an old crappy cassette, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I went to one of those bootleg trading things where
Yes.
they trade, and I was like, dude, I don't have anything to trade. Can I just buy this? And they're like, well, that's kind of weird. I'm like, dude, I can't find it. You've got it. How much would you charge me? Just dub me a CD and send it. And it was like, I don't know, Lithuania or somewhere.
Oh,
and
wow.
He dubbed me a copy and charged me like $10 or something.
Really?
And, yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Matt,
man.
what do you want to say to the
Scott.
viewers before you get out of here? Hi-Fidelics, you guys are all over the place.
This is your moment.
This is
We're
your
actually,
moment to
we
say
won't be back until July, so
Really?
we don't have anything. The couple of gigs that we had booked in
Akira
June were
Takasaki.
canceled, so
Okay, say that
What's
again.
that?
Say that again because Scott got all excited about loudness. Go
Toby
ahead.
Mass, sorry.
no, we won't be back until July. We had a few dates booked in June that were canceled due to things still not, being ready for entertainment. So
Right.
we'll be back in July, and
Sweet.
yeah, look forward to playing some tunes and seeing everybody out.
Where's a good place that people can check out some of your music? Do you have anything on Spotify? Do you have any websites that people can come out and check out or anything?
Well, yeah, we're on Facebook. We've got a Facebook page, just facebook.com/the Hi-Fidelics, and then we've got, you can find various videos, I think, on YouTube. It's been a while since I did a YouTube dive on us, but there were a few things on there. So
Right.
And I want you
Yeah.
people to understand something. Matt Brantley is a badass on drums. And
Big time.
And the
Yes, he
guy
is.
can play everything from Pantera to, like he said, Ringo Starr. I'm telling you, check this boy out, and he can sing, asshole.
And he plays guitar. Don't you play guitar now too, Matt?
And he's
Son of a bitch.
he's
Yeah.
a fun guy. And if you see him out at River Spirit or in these awesome casinos, go check them out. Tell him we sent ya, and tell Matt that we said hello. He's a
Right.
badass.
Yes.
He really is.
Big time. What about you, Mark?
Scott, you're way too nice.
Well, he means it, and I do too. What do you got going on in your calendar, Mark? Do you know? What's up?
Honestly, I know usually about 2 weeks in advance where I'm supposed to be. If that, I look on. I'm not joking. I look on the website and go, where are we
Right.
at next? All right,
Right.
here we go.
Right.
I
I
think
totally get that.
I think our next show is. I know it's a casino. I want to say it might be Kansas Crossing.
Okay. Okay.
It's mid June. So it's
Oh,
a
it's in
few
June.
Yeah, it's a few
Okay.
weeks. Yeah, we lost all or not all, but we lost a lot of our shows there too. And
That
like
stinks.
I know we lost officially lost our one of our Vanguard show, and we hear that might be it for the rest of the year for
That
them too.
stinks.
that sucks.
That's
Yeah,
tough.
that
That's
really
tough.
sucks. 'Cause that's at the moment that was our only local gig. So we're going
Right.
to be looking around to try to do some more stuff.
Where's a
Right,
good
right.
place that people can go and check out your music? And I know you guys got the Dead Kiss Society because you're producing. He's like the master producer right here. Not only is he a badass on guitar, one of the best rhythm guitar players you'll ever see here in Tulsa,
I
Oklahoma.
second that.
Badass,
Easy.
badass producer.
I love you.
This guy's awesome. But you can check out his songs because he's producing Kiss tunes on YouTube. Check him
Labor
out.
of Love. We basically Dead Metal Society did it just because we all love Kiss and we just did it for fun and it
Right.
turned out really good. So anyway, you can look on YouTube under Dead Kiss Society or just search Dead Metal Society. I mean,
Right.
we're not hard to find.
It's good stuff, man.
Awesome.
It's good stuff. Well, I guess that's it, right?
Is it deadmetalsociety.com? Is that a website? Too?
Yeah,
DMSrocks.com.
DMSrocks.com.
Yep.
DMS
Yep.
rocks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's got all of our dates, and of course we have a Facebook page. So
Well, I consider you both of you guys some of my best friends
Yep.
ever in the whole entire world, and I have your guys' back, and I hope you have mine. I love you
Absolutely.
guys, and you guys are just top foreign players in Tulsa, and me and Jana both love you immensely, and we really appreciate you guys coming on the show here in the Tulsa Music Stream, and we hope to have you guys back.
Yep.
Please give it up for Dead Metal Society,
Sure.
Mr. Mark Mortensen, Hi-Fidelics, Mr.
Nice job.
Matt Brantley.
Nice job, guys. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
I'm not leaving.
Oh, that's fine. We
No,
actually,
you give me a freaking chair. I'm in this.
hell yeah.
You know,
No,
Matt,
I'm
Matt's
just
going to
kidding. I
roll
really
up.
am leaving. I just
Hey, you know what? Matt's gonna roll out of his car and I'm knocking the door. It's like I've been talking on my phone.
Right.
Right
He's
in
down
front
there
of
with
your
a
house.
pizza right now.
You know,
so-
I actually was thinking about doing that, but I was afraid you guys would know I was in the car stereo. And
It's too bad. It's too bad.
caller, turn down your radio, please.
So super quick. We're gonna actually we're gonna play two songs. We're gonna do another Gypsy Pistoleros song.
Okay, and what's the last song?
The last song, what? Oh, the very last song.
Yeah.
BC and the Big Rig. We're gonna try to get that one in
Nice.
again. Yeah. So, but shameless plug before
Yep.
we go off the air, Scott.
But
what?
who plays in that band?
Brandon Clark.
There you go.
Brandon Clark is the
Get
man
that
in
name.
BC in the Big Woods.
Everyone, I want to see some hearts. Give these guys some hearts, please. Just hearts, love. Come on, give us some likes.
Super quick, shameless plug before we go off the air. Let's see, a week from tonight, this.
Ooh.
See when you run your own stream, you can do all this fun
You
stuff.
got sneaky with Mark right here.
That's awesome.
I got some sneaky going on. Anyway, we're back. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad, but we're hoping it goes well. First show at Lenny's ever for this
Nice.
band, June 6th, next Saturday. Come on out. No cover charge, 9:30. Their new facility is very beautiful, and we are looking very forward to playing that. So we'll see you next Saturday. Here's some Bandito from the Gypsy Pistoleros. We're going to close out with...
Gypsy
We're
Pistolero.
going to close
Thanks
out.
for having me, guys.
Thank you, man. That was awesome. We're going to close out with Bandito, followed by Scraps by BC and the Big Rig. And we will be back on the air with Tulsa Music Stream on Sunday, June 14th, to have a Tulsa Music Awards recap. Thank you guys for joining us. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.
Born in a one-horse town, amongst the lost and found, William Barney found a different way. You stole a gun one day, you chatted as you played Pistolero. Fire, you rode with gun in hand, led an outlaw gang, stole and killed the road, the wilder ways. Alive beside the law, rebels without a cause, kings of the Wild West. Bandito, bandito, bandito. One more go as bandito. Bandito, bandito, bandito. Number one as bandito. Horses ran them down, fled from town to town, crossed the border down Mexico way. Lived the life so fine, but families in time found a reason for life. What they never dreamt, even men goodbyes looking for a different way. As the years roll by, can't get all but died, only really left. Bandito, bandito, bandito. One more go as bandito. Bandito, bandito, bandito. Number one as bandito. He got the gun from the winning sun, till about your hunt, she came that way. His life ran out as a shot rang out. Billy Jr. held his hand. Lauren hit the ground as the kid shot it down. Father's gun came out to play. Another legend born, rebel with a cause. A bandito. Bandito, bandito, bandito. One more go as bandito. Bandito, bandito, bandito. Number one as bandito.
dream is filled with danger and excitement. It's got everything that you ever need. We know that you buy a ticket, but we can't let you win. There ain't enough room in the big tent. You can run from behind the fence. In times like these, you should probably take the high road. But sometimes you just feel good to be so bad. Everything you want to say out on the table. It's hard to make a living without you getting on the strand. You ever feel like a marathon runner? If you're in the middle of a life's little race, you get up so close to the finish line. But all you need is someone to give you time. Is it all right? There'll come a day in the future when you're standing at the pearly gates. You're looking up at St. Peter, telling you that there's a wait. Oh, you know you're being a good person, trying to live free of sin. But apparently, heaven is full of every time that it's you in. Times like these, you should probably take the high road. Sometimes it just feels good to be so bad. Everything you want to say out on the table. It's hard to make a living. It's hard to make a living. It's hard to make a living without you getting on the track. What's up,